All right, welcome everyone to the Chrono Lynx at Dragonia tournament. So we have a round robin. There's 10 runners that have graciously given their time to put on this tournament. This will be the first one. So right now we have Azalea versus Zero Umbra. And for commentating, we have Corporate Image, Super Handy, AG Deets, and Carbon Dank. If anyone is interested in learning the run, always feel free to ask. There's a lot of knowledgeable people here for today. I'm not going to waste anyone's too much time. So with that, I'm just going to get this ready and we'll be off. Sorry about that, I panicked over the timer.
I think getting the timer right is probably more important than making sure you can hear the commentators.
Yeah, we're not that important.
Okay, it sounds like they can hear us now.
All right, so the go ahead.
Oh, I was just
gonna say,
saying, it
let's see
starts
who
off
has-
with a bang.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Trying to watch to see who gets trolled by the bats here in the beginning. It never fails.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there's one. Yep.
Oh boy.
You jinxed it.
I did. That one's on me.
Yeah. The
Just
back.
in the various bats.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Chrono Cross, the first section is probably one of the fastest starts that you can get in this game. And there's these Cybot enemies and bats that just kind of run around, and it's your entire job to dodge them. You don't get random encounters in this game. Everything is just on the map that you can see, and it's on you to run around them. And this section is notorious for having bats just fly around. They're hard to see. You can hear them, but
Yep.
you're not quite sure where they are, and they will dive bomb you.
Yep.
And we saw Izala kind of get trolled. There's only one path through, and he had to turn around, and Zero Umbra he just ran into it.
Yeah, it's honestly very easy to hit. You see a lot of runners, like new and old, reset in the very first minute because of running into bats.
Oh, I have reset so many runs just in this section.
Yeah, it should be noted that every encounter you take is, assuming you could run away immediately, takes around 20 seconds of time. So having that
Right,
lead
right.
is worth it.
Yep, that brings up a good point. Yeah, you do lose about 20 seconds for every one you run into, so you're very incentivized to try to not get any extra on the world map encounters.
Dream sequence is done though. We got through that part.
Yep.
Just one bad encounter.
Yeah, the opening begins with the dream sequence, which we just passed through, and then sort of like Chrono Trigger, we get the protagonist waking up in his bed, being called out by his mom. And then we can begin. Talk to more people.
So CAD USG asks, is the run only up to Serge Lynx transformation? Yeah, that's so Lynx percent is basically a race category that has semi-recently, I can't remember exactly, been added as like an official leaderboard. And so people have been practicing doing that. And so we're doing a is it round robin, guys? I forget if it's been changed. Yeah, a round robin race between all of the runners who have signed up, all the way up till the Lynx 2 fight in Fort Dragonia.
Yeah, it serves as a nice introduction to learning the speed run, and there are very, very minor differences between regular any percent in this category.
Yeah, it's a great introductory category, especially for new runners, people with interest in this game. It's about 1/3 of the game of the speed run length, and takes about, roughly about 2 hours and 10 minutes at the higher times, about 2 hours and 30 minutes for newer runners. But as for the plot, we're in our town of Arnie, and we get woken up by our mom, and she tells us that our girlfriend Lena, who Izala has just finished talking to, was waiting for us. And like the speedrunners we are, we overslept. And she
as
wants
one does.
As one does. and she's like, we had agreed to go to the beach with her. But since we overslept, we can't do that. And she says, well, to compensate, you have to go get me a necklace. So we have to go exterminate some Komodos to get their scales and make this necklace.
So we just saw Izala clear the first menu in the game. He went and bought 2 fireballs, and he equipped them and changed some menuing options. We're about to see Umbra do that as well, for those who missed it. But those 2 fireballs are going to help us get through this first section, Blizzard Rock, where, as we just heard, we're going to exterminate the Komodo pups in order to make a necklace for our girlfriend.
Yep, so to be specific, ideally you only want to fight 3 Komodos here, and 1 beach bum. But during this section, they're also trying to not only get the scales that they need for the necklace, but we're looking for feather, 2 humors, and a fang, so that we can have materials to build better weapons when we get to Termina in about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, in Chrono Cross, we don't buy equipment. We forge the equipment we need, so we need to collect materials for it. So by getting certain drops, that can speed things along, because eventually we will need those drops to go quickly. You can forego some of the drops if you're feeling brave, but generally it's not worth it.
Yeah, I didn't see what Izala got dropped in the first fight, but
I think it was just
essentially
the common
feather.
bones.
Yeah, nothing
Oh, the common
special, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, so the beach drums will be the ones that'll drop your humors, which unfortunately Izala did not get in this fight. The sand squirts will drop the fangs, and the Komodos will rarely, I think it's a 90-10 split on if they'll drop you a feather. But if we don't get the feather, which is most of the time the case, we do have a backup feather, which we can always get. It just saves about 15 seconds or so to not have to go out of your way to get the chest for the feather.
Yeah, and I think Azalea just showcased our first use of those fireballs that we bought. If you notice, he starts with, ooh, he got the feather drop. Yeah, that's good. And so what you saw him do, our characters, they have a maximum of 7 stamina. And what you can do is he killed a sand squirt with a 3 and then a 1-2, and he was left with 1 stamina, which he then used to do that fireball. Fortunately, he hit everything, but that's one of the most efficient ways that he can get through that enemy encounter.
That's also a good point to bring up, is that like if anybody's new to seeing Chrono Cross mechanics being used, and you're wondering why don't you just like spam elements? Elements can't miss, but they drain 7 of your stamina no matter like when you use it, and most of the time they're very slow. Very slow.
Yeah, it's like using Cure in Kingdom Hearts. Like it takes up your full meter no matter how much you use.
Right.
So Izala is facing off against the mother Komodo, and Umbra just dodged the beach bum on the log. That's always nice to see. Ooh, a crit.
Oh, he went for it. Oh, he went for it.
A daredevil.
So on the Mama Komodo, after we fight the 3 pups, the third one is after you beat or start the third fight. The Mama Komodo is guaranteed to come. And the old strategy, and is in the common notes, is to do a 2-2-2. It's your highest accuracy way to hit the Mama Komodo, and then your fireball will generally kill. But you can low roll for 48 damage. And so I kind of noticed that if I did a 3-3 at a lower hit percent, I could evade that low roll. But it's how would you say it, Handy? It's people don't like it so much.
I don't think
It's
that's that people don't
riskier.
like it.
It's
It's
riskier.
riskier. Yeah, it's riskier, and it's kind of runner preference, honestly. Like, because I don't think that one's more terrible, than the other. It's just like I'm surprised that Azala went for it in a race, but like honestly, I think it's what Azala does in regular attempts, right?
He might have adopted it. I'm not sure. But you saw that he first got punished because he missed the first 3, but then he got
Right.
rewarded with the crit. So
And by riskier, like you're not really like it's very hard to die on Mama Komodo. It can happen. It can happen. But what we mean is just like it takes more time because if you do miss or whatever.
We see Izala is reminiscing with Lena on the beach while Zero Umbra faces off against the Mama Komodo. This fight will always have 2 Komodo pups to start with, whereas the other Komodo pup encounters would be random with what you got. But it could be a good time to kind of explain the battle system. How would you explain it, Deeds? Not to throw you under the bus.
Basically, you have an option to attack. There's 3 ways you can attack with a 1, 2, or 3, and your attacks increase with intensity based on how high you go. That also takes up your stamina that we talked about earlier with the elements, how many you attack. The boss has a certain amount of AP count, which determines how much stamina you can spend before the boss gets to have a turn. That's kind of the bare bones of the system. There's a lot of nuance to it beyond that. You guys can go further into.
I think that's a good bare bones explanation, like because it can feel like a lot to try to explain all in one go because the systems kind of all play into each other, like stamina and like accuracy and like what you're swinging for and stuff like that. AP counting.
it's definitely one of the most unique combat systems I've seen, especially for how old this game is.
Yeah, we're talking about risk, and when you hit like a 1 or a 2, you have a higher % chance of hitting those attacks, but also when they connect, your hit percentage goes up. So one of the like intended ways to fight an encounter is to do like a 1, 1, 2, 3. That way you build up to that damage, and you're very likely to hit. But as Deeds mentioned, the AP system, the action point system involving bosses and enemies, they have a chance, or they have a time when they will go, when they fight. So when you try to build up your attacks 1, 1, 2, 3, there's a good chance that you will get interrupted. And if that enemy hits you, or the person who was just building up your accuracy, then your hit percentage goes back to the base levels of the start of the fight. So how we deal with fights is up to our own judgment in the speed run, which makes it one of the more interesting aspects of the run.
Yeah, I think that's really neat, and I think one of the big drawing points, like if you want to learn the game, is that there are strats that are strats that we have laid out. Almost nothing goes like to plan in a run, and so a lot of it becomes like how each runner adapts to what they think the best adaptation of the notes is, in the moment or whatever. And I think that's really interesting.
So because Izala got a feather drop, he could just go straight through this area here. I don't believe I saw Zero Umbra get the feather drop, but I think both runners got a strength point, which that'll come into play a little bit later.
That is a good point. I also want to touch on, I assume that we're about to see, after Azala goes to Arnie Village, whenever Azala goes to Cape Hal, you're going to see Azala, I think, take a fight that Umbra won't have to. I didn't see if Umbra got a humor, but I don't think Izala did. I don't think Izala has any.
They both need to take a fight. But so we ended after just coming back to the plot a little bit. We got our scales, and then when we met Lena on the beach, and you can see in this cutscene that Zero's going through, like something. We started talking about our future, and some really weird stuff happens. We kind of get consumed by this wave, and we wake up, and poof, she's gone. And so we have to go find her.
Yeah, but now Lena basically tells us she doesn't know who we are, even though we just went through all that trouble of collecting necklaces, or stuff for her necklace.
How could she?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the protagonist in this game, Serge, he does a good job of mirroring the player's perspective in the sense that he is very confused and he has no idea what's going on, which is a very common theme in Chrono Cross. Because for anyone who's played this game, the plot, it's interesting, but it can be kind of nonsensical and extremely confusing at times. So
It is very convoluted. That is true.
Yeah, and there is a bunch of like, I guess tertiary knowledge that you can get about the world and how it interacts with the prequel of Chrono Trigger, but we don't really see that in the speedrun. And actually, if people who have played this game casually, we haven't quite touched on it, but one of the major draws to this game has been the just wide array of characters that you can get and play with. Unfortunately, we don't really leverage that in the speedrun. I remember when I first learned the game, like not even the speedrun, but just played the game casually, I would always go grab Poshel, the dog, and I would get Mojo after the sequence. And in the speedrun, they're not really that useful to us. But so yeah, you might remember there's a scene that Azala's going to come up on, and if you have Poshel with you, Poshel gets kicked off the edge, which is very sad.
I remember that. Oh man. I totally forgot about that, but now I remember.
So we're actually saving Poshel from that fate.
So it looks
That's
like
true.
Zero Umbra also got a feather drop, which is nice. But yeah, that's all I added. There you go.
I was going to touch on, since we glazed over it a little bit, I think it might be while they're talking is going on here for Izala, to talk about, Corporate mentioned that both of them in their first Mama Komodo fight got a strength. So in this game, like the way that levels work are you don't necessarily like level up. You fight certain star fights, which are essentially boss fights, and then you have a weighted random chance of getting certain stat ups, like for important stat ups for your character. Like for Serge, obviously, the higher the strength that we have, the faster we can go in the speedrun. And so it's not completely random. You do roll, it is RNG or whatever, but like the game has an ideal value that it like essentially thinks you should be at. And depending on how close or far you are away from that value, like above or below, it adjusts your chances of getting the strength up for that fight. You can get either a +1 or a +2.
Yeah, so correction, Zero Umbra forgot the feather. So I don't know if they'll be going back for that or not, but we see Kid on Izala's screen, a very memorable character. She's here to save the day, or so we think. But at this point, we're going to see how AP, strength values, magic values all come into play for the boss fights, because from now on, things are going to be a little more complicated and require the runners to make better judgment calls based on what the enemies do and what we need to do as runners. But to start off the fight, we're going to defend because we need to wait for Salt to go, and he did. Very lucky.
Oh, that's really fast. Nice.
So all the Salt and Pepper fights, to a certain extent, are tutorial fights. They kind of explain things as they go along. And the tutorial won't officially begin until Salt makes his attack on Serge. And since he did that first try, that was really, really lucky. Really nice. Let's see.
So you did go back and get the feather. Next, the feather is what gets the steel swallow. I think if the feather
Right.
was the iron dagger, you could maybe potentially, debate for the ivory dagger strat, but
That is
since the
true.
feather is what gets you the steel swallow, that's a little bit more important of a weapon to obtain.
I've seen people do the ivory dagger strats, but I've never seen someone offer the steel swallow or the with non-skill swallow strats.
Soon, TM. Soon.
Oh no.
No, actually, so I had never seen that happen where you had to go back for the feather, but what Zero did was really smart, and I didn't even think of it, is he, instead of going back around through the fishes and kind of the normal path that we take, he deloaded, and I was like, oh wow, I would have been caught by that if I had done something.
Zero also got the super rare triple beach bomb encounter.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty insane. But anyway, yeah, we'll explain the crafting system a little more in depth as we get closer to the next town of Termina. But for now, it looks like Izala's taking out Salt and Pepper, and then now it's up to Karsh in the fight.
Ooh, that miss.
Yeah, but he's had a lot of misses.
Definitely
That's
at the end
fun.
of like this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you go ahead, get that.
I was gonna say definitely at the end of this fight, like stamina can always is always a little bit weird. So like misses start hurting a little bit. Can make this fight last a lot longer.
So Zero did not go for the mini star attempt, and he had a prime bum position.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I was gonna say the
no,
game
no,
of
go ahead.
wait. Go ahead, Andy. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think there's a little bit delay between me and you talking. I think I didn't mean to interrupt you whenever I started talking.
No worries. So Izala, he got the bone axe and then the ivory vest drop, and he needed the ivory vest drop to obtain a humor for later crafting. But one item he did not get was the ivory helmet, which will serve as a nice defensive equipment later on. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I'll come back to it later. But Zero Umbra is just about to start the Salt and Pepper and Karsh fight. We'll see how this
Right.
fight goes.
We're
And
almost
Azalea
at
is
the
coming up. To,
scariest part of the game.
Oh yes. So why is it so scary, Deeds?
Because you can let Kid join your party.
No.
And that will ruin that is rip run if you let her join your party.
yeah.
The
so
reason
it's
is
very,
because sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was
explain.
saying, say
I'm
Yeah, go ahead and
being
explain.
super dramatic with this. It's fine. But yeah, the reason is we have to refuse Kid, and if you button mash, you will automatically accept her into the party. And she asks you 3 times, so that's 3 opportunities for you to accidentally button mash Kid into your party. And if you do that, you cannot get Lena into your party. And Lena is very essential for a lot of the strategies that you'll see later on in this run.
Yeah, there is a potential backup if you don't get Lena. You can end up going the Nikki route into the Viper Manor, but that is very slow by comparison, and I don't even think that we've really written out the strategies to do that. Just because we would much rather have Lena.
right.
And actually, just real fast on Zero's screen, he just started the Karsh Salt and Pepper fight, and what you saw is that he defended before. We didn't talk about this when Izala was doing the fight, but this almost every encounter with Salt and Pepper is a tutorial-esque fight, and we actually cannot damage them until they start the tutorial, which is started when Salt, the tall, skinny guy, hits you.
I guess that's a good point to bring up that, like, so we talked about the AP system. And so in this fight, we know that all 3 of them have 9 AP, which, we talked about action points without going too into depth. But we should mention is that, like, even though they have 9 AP, when you start a fight, enemies have random AP. We don't know what it is in the very opening turn. For bosses, it can be anywhere between 1 up to a little bit above their AP value that we have listed. And for regular enemies, you can walk into a fight and they get their turn immediately. They just roll zeros. So depending on how fast we can finally attack because of Salt attacking Serge, really depends on what the random roll is from Salt whenever you walk into the fight is.
So yeah, after the fight on Izala's screen, by refusing Kid, we get Lena, as Deeps mentioned, but we also get a bonus. We get Pashul to join the party. So we're going to make use of Pashul's usually above average strength in the next encounter with Salt and Pepper. Spoilers. But on Zero Umbra's screen, he's getting hit with Dragon Rider. It's never fun to see. But Karsh is in critical HP, so he's going to end the fight very soon. very soon. There it goes. Alright, see what he gets.
The suspense.
Alright, standard drops and a strength for Kid. But Serge is still at 10
Ooh.
strength.
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
That was very greedy by Izala.
Sometimes you have to risk it.
Well, now both of them are at 1 encounter each. So that's nice. I mean, keeping
Right.
it even.
Tashal's at the front here. Oh, did we explain like party order at all yet?
Oh.
Oh, we have not. Go ahead.
So basically, this game has an interesting feature. When you hit select on your controller, it lets you swap who is your party leader. So you don't have to go into a menu or anything to do that. You can just hit select. And we actually use that a lot throughout the whole run. Who party leader will determine who is in the center of your lineup here during encounters. And that also kind of determines, in some cases, who is the tank, the aggro for the party a little bit, based on who's in the center. And it also, we go into like a theatrical mode when we do these fights, because it lets the selections be consistent with your, if you select an element and you automatically know, hey, I always want to select the party leader for these elements, going into the theatrical mode lets you do that. And so it makes a difference who your party leader is. They also get to go first, typically, when you start the run, or when you start an encounter. So
Right.
in this case, we had Poshel go first, or that's what Izala had, in order to get an attack.
Yeah, so for the first hour of the game, we're kind of having to deal with misses quite often because we have no way to buff our stats. But after the first hour, we're going to get elements Strengthen and Eagle Eye. And Eagle Eye, when it's used on a party member, will increase the hit percentage of all moves to 99%. So that'll help. So Eagle Eye and Strengthen are, as Deeds mentioned, they're buff moves that if you select them automatically, they will automatically target the center person in the party. So who we put up front will be in center in the fight, and that'll affect our menuing during the fight, so we could speed things up quickly with muscle memory, so to speak. We see Izala making his way to Termina, while Zero Umbras getting Lina and Pashul.
I guess actually a good thing to bring up here is because at this point in the story, like in a casual playthrough, you have several different routes you can go into to how you get into Manor. You have the Guile route, you have Pierre route. There's another one, right? Or is it just those
Nikki.
two? Nikki, that's the other one, right? So for the speed run, we're actually going to do what the fastest route is, and that's going to be to pick up Pierre. Spoiler alert. And Pierre is going to serve one main purpose for one fight, and that is all of his use, besides getting us into the Manor.
Hey, Pierre's there to look fabulous.
Pierre is the true hero.
He is.
Oh, right.
He saved my run so many times. He's been able to-
With those Pierre 3 flamboyant crits to kill Lynx. Yes.
10 damage crit.
Love it.
So Izala makes his way to Statue Man, and Statue Man will tell you about that there are ways to get into Viper Manor, which is the next part of the game. Kid will show up, so even if you reject her and say no and blah blah, she just will not leave our side. But fun fact, you can still reject her here, and she will show up later in the Manor because, well, she's kind of desperate for attention. But at this point, for the speed run, we are going to put Kid in the party instead of Lina, and we'll make use of her strengths going forward for the next, 30 minutes? At
Yeah.
this point, we can choose what path we want to take. So we will be going to the right side of the screen, which will take us to the smithy. And then in the smithy, we'll talk to Pierre. So it works out really nicely that Pierre is just exactly where we need him to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. And before we even hit the smithy, we're gonna go into Van and Go's house, and we're gonna pick up what's called the Profiteer Purse. And what it does is it gives us extra money at the end of every fight. And the way that we've routed this out is money is super important. So you'd think that we would use this, and we will. But we're gonna disassemble it for the irons that help us get these more powerful weapons than we really should have at this point. Even though having a little extra money would be helpful, these weapons are just so much more valuable.
Yeah, it's
so we
honestly
mentioned-
very.
Oh, go ahead, Andy.
I was like, yeah, honestly, it's very convenient that the Profiteer's Purse is happens to be here for the speedrun so that we can disassemble it to get these weapons.
Yeah, we mentioned early on while we were at Lizard Rock that we needed some drops. The drops were a feather, and humors, and fangs. And those are the crafting materials that are going to create better weapons for Serge and Kid, along with the Profiteer's Purse, of course. So that's the reason why we mentioned it and we put a lot of stock into it during the speed run. Because if we don't get the feather as a drop, we have to go pick it up, spend about 15 seconds to pick it up in that center island. And if we don't get a humor drop on the first screen, we have to fight extra enemies in the Cape Howell screen where Karsh, Salt, and Pepper were. So, all for those crafting materials.
Now, Hey Buddy asked in the chat a guile route ? And actually, I believe that was the original route. Maybe, well, I guess at this point it'd be 7 years ago. I wasn't around as a runner at that point, but I do like the very early runnings of this game did use guile, and he was always my favorite route. Honestly, I believe my favorite character. But sadly, Pierre's just faster.
You say sadly, you keep saying this word, but
Well, it
It's a
has its
joy.
perks.
Ooh, rough miss for Zero Umbra. Zero Umbra closing out, getting ready to close out the Fossil Valley fight. Getting ready to
try
head
to
into
see what
tournament.
Lena's magic and Surge's strength is for him. Lena's got 10 magic. 11, nice. So later on, we're going to put Lena in our party, and her magic is going to play a key role in speed throughout the rest of the run. So knowing that Zero Umbra, that his Lena has 11 magic is it's really nice. All right, we see Pierre charging up to the gates, saying, open the gates, I'm a hero. I qualify for being a hero, and the gates are like, we don't need any street performers, get lost. Anyway. Yeah, so fun fact, while we choose these options here, there's a hidden fourth option, and it summons some cats. And the cats, like, disturb the guards, and then they run off, and then you eventually fight the guards. But that doesn't play into the run at all.
So I
I
didn't
always-
catch
Part
it.
of the true cat percent
There you
category.
go. Oh, we should have made it a requirement.
I know, missed opportunity. So we're facing up against these two guards, and in the next section of the game, which is Viper's Manor, our goal is to get through the manor as quickly as possible, and to do that we have to fight three guard fights, and this is the first before the manor. But all the guard fights, we have one common goal, which is to try to defeat the guards before they get a chance to attack, because that way we will save time overall in the fights. But as we were talking about the AP system, it's random at the start. So we kind of adjust our strats to the very beginning of the fight so that we can accommodate that. And then once we see when the guards get their turn, then we say, all right, we'll use these strats instead. But that was just the first guard fight.
Yeah, and actually, this section is, I guess, technically our first stat check. It's not so much of a stat check in the sense, but there's a break point where if you're 13 strength with these upgraded weapons, we can actually kill these enemies with a full round of a character. But that's very rare to have happen because that is the maximum strength that we could be at this point. Well, I guess it's not really the maximum, but
Without
if you
plus twos
assume,
and stuff.
yeah, without plus twos or a power glove or a mini star, um, it's very rare for you to be at that strength value at this point in time. But when you get it, it gives you an opportunity to go really fast by comparison.
Yeah, and so also at the beginning of this fight, what just happened was actually the one purpose I was talking about earlier with Pierre. So what character you have in the center actually plays a very big part in how this fight goes, because whoever's in the center will be the one to get like destroyed by Ketchup on the first turn. And so actually, like most of the time, what just happened is what happens, and you do get revived or whatever. But there is a slight chance that Ketchup can miss all 3 of the attacks on Pierre, and instead of revive, the story does cure plus instead. And well, have we even explained like elements and like field effect or anything like that? Does anybody want to take over on that? Is there a brief overview of that?
Sorry, I missed the question. What was it?
We can talk
I
about
said,
it
does
later.
anybody want to? Yeah, we can go. Okay, we'll go over it later. But essentially, having the revive happen helps Serge and how much damage we do.
Yeah, so there are a lot of mechanics to this game for the battle system, and one of them we don't talk about is the field effect on the top left corner. You see 3 circles that are not quite concentric, but depending on what element color is on the field will have various effects to the players. So since Serge is a white elemental person, if there is a white element on the field, he will do extra damage to the enemies. Conversely, if there's a black element on the field, which Serge is weak to, he will do less damage to that enemy that's on the field. If there's both of them, I'm not exactly sure which takes priority or they cancel each other out. But because there's a white and a red on the field on the Izala screen, besides those misses from Kid, Kid will do more damage as well as Serge against Ketchup. But field effects will play a little bit later on, but here's where we're going to start making use of them against Ketchup and the guard fights and the enemies in Viper Manor. There's also a chance that Izala can get and Zero Umbra can get a rare magic ring drop, and the magic ring is an item that will help out in the future. Did not get it, but that's okay.
Ketchup's rares are actually both really good. His magic ring drop, and then if you want to invest the time, you can try to have Kid pilfer from him. You have 90% chance to get a tablet, which is pretty useless, just a healing item. But you then have like a 10% chance to get a power glove. And I have been debating whether or not to try it every time. A power glove is +1 strength as an accessory, so it doesn't last you very long directly on your main character, but it is a nice supplemental boost that can really hit certain breakpoints throughout in any percent run. But it's very unlikely that you get it off of him.
Does Azala go for guard skip? Do we know?
I think he will. And actually, this Chrono Cross any percent and the Lynx 2%, there's no real glitches and there's no real skips outside of 2 realistically. So really, we just do the game mechanics as efficiently as we can throughout the run. And one of the potential skips, we'll see if Azala goes for it, is what's known as guard skip, and you can. There's a couple guards blocking the door to the manor, and there's a way to get past them without fighting them.
Yeah, so Izala just engaged in a mini game that gives him the key to Viper Manor, and by feeding those dragons, whatever they're called, you're able to, the pattern ahead of time, and you could efficiently feed them fairly quickly. But as he makes his way, we'll see if he goes for the guard skip. Does anybody want to explain how that works?
So we'll know if he's gonna go for it if he aggroes this guard real quick.
Yep.
Oh, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's going for it. And so basically, these guards that appear up in the front of the door will normally stop you. But if you have another guard aggroed on you, they
He
will let you
missed
get
it.
behind them.
Oh, he got
missed
it!
He got
Oh
it!
no, he
Oh,
got
man.
it. He got
That's
it.
a late get.
Yeah, that is a one frame input that you have to, and there's a bit of RNG on it depending on like if the depending on how your inputs work. And I mean, he got it. It saves that entire fight.
Wow, that was so late to get it. So generally, the way that it works is that you get a handy saying it's a one frame window between the two text boxes. So when you pull that first guard, it says, "Hey, get back here," and then he eventually loses you, and he's like, "Where did they go?" But the other guards then come and say, like, "You can't be in here," and they start charging you, and it's between those two text boxes that you can get your input in.
Yep.
And then it seems that there was another text box afterwards that he could also get in. So that was very late, but also very fortunate. And it saves about a minute.
Yeah, so if you choose to fight the guards at the door, there's a chance that the enemy formations will be different. You'll either get 3 guards or 4 guards. 4 guards is very slow because they'll get extra attacks on you, and chances are you'll have misses in the fight. But this fight that Izala's on, the trap with the guards at the trap, it's always 3 guards, which is nice because you can always accommodate that. But later on there'll be 1 more guard fight, and you'll either get 3 guards or 4. But by skipping the guards at the door, you save potentially anywhere from 45 seconds to, I don't know, a couple minutes, depending on how bad the guard fights go.
Hey Buddy is asking, is there going to be a loser's bracket? How does this work? And this is a round robin. So there's actually 2 groups. There's Group A and Group B. The current fight or match right now is Group B. And so basically everyone in the round robin will have a chance to fight everyone else in their group. And then the 2 people with the best winning ratio will face off in the finals.
So Izala is about to collect a code for the manor. The code is 2 numbers between 1 and 9. Let's see what he gets. 6? Was that 5?
6-5. Yep.
Okay, that's a decent code. So you're generally looking for a sum of 10 or less, and he got a sum of 11, which is not bad. But later on, when he inputs the code, whatever your sum is, let's say you have a 9-9, a sum of 18. That means it'll take about 18 seconds of time before you can go through the door. So the lower that code, the quicker you can get through the door. Oh man, so it looks like on Zero Umbra's screen for the catch-up fight, looks like Pierre dodged all the attacks and skipped. Instead of getting revived, he got Cure Plus, which is bad. It doesn't help anybody.
Yeah,
I
that's
apologize, Umbra. That
doubly
one's on
bad.
me.
How could you,
I
Andy?
cursed that one.
Take it back. Yeah, that's doubly bad because the field was initially white, yellow, yellow, and the revive would let it go yellow, yellow, white. And so having the white boosts Serge's strength or power, and so we don't get that bonus. And now the blue is opposing Kid, so now she's doing less damage as well. So it's just doubly bad.
As far as the what's it called? A casual playthrough of this game. When you enter Viper Manor, there's like a goal if you take Kid along where she's like, let's go find some treasure. So we just entered the treasure room and we picked up a sword and an armor, did some menuing. And then when you touch this pendant, you get hit with a trap and you're stuck in this cage. And you meet Lucia or Lucia, however you say her name. And she's not here to help us. She's here to test her creations against us. We're facing off against these yellow onion men. But Pierre has a very important job to do. Alright, he did it. He hit. And he turned Serge yellow. By turning Serge yellow, Serge will do extra damage against these Neo-N bulbs because they're green element and they oppose each other. So that will speed the fight up quite a bit. Looks like you got a really good AP start too.
Really good. Yep.
I think it might have killed there if he just stammed. If he did a 3-3.
I'm not sure what Izala's strength is. Might be kind of low, 13 or 12. I think it's like 12.
I know Izala was at 12 prior to catch up. I did not see if he got one on catch up. Oh, honestly though, all things considered, not a bad fight at all.
That was a really good fight. Yeah.
Yep.
That was apparently that was a gold for him.
Oh, nice.
Oh, let's go.
Ooh, congratulations.
Ooh.
So he was at 12 too. So it's really nice that went.
Fog Champ. He just got the Eagle Eye drop, which is a rare drop from both of them. Normally we buy that element later, but now we don't have to. And there is a use for it against Lynx, so we'll see if he elects to put that on and use it.
Coming up actually is something that's really nice for the speedrun, and it's something that probably a lot of people miss casually. But you're gonna see us spend a good amount of time in here, basically bothering Karsh over and over and over. Because actually, if you try to open this chest 20 times, eventually he'll let you in it, and it gives us a Dragoon Gauntlet, which is a very, very good item to have. It gives us +3 strength on the plus 2 strength. Sorry, on the unit that we put it on.
Yeah, it's +3.
I was right. Oh yeah.
And yeah, even the I believe the released like game guide tells you not to talk to this chest. Come back later when Karsh is in here. So yeah, it is definitely a very like well hidden secret, I guess, to a lot of people that you could get this.
It's also very easy to accidentally input the wrong code here, so let's make sure. Let's see if Izala takes it nice and slow for the race. I've seen many a run end by accidentally inputting the wrong code.
Zero Umbra just finished feeding the dragons. We'll see if he goes for the guard skip. As Izala makes his way forward, we'll eventually get to more plot and introduce ourselves to Marcy. Very fun character.
Yeah, Marcy is probably the first real boss that can end your run if you're not careful. With experience, you can make it consistent. Looks like Zero's
Right.
not going for guard skip, but this Marcy is one of the scariest bosses for new runners. Over time that goes away, but if you're not careful, what she can do is she can hit you with 2 ice blasts, which is honestly she's cheating for having that element at this point, but
Right.
it does so much damage and will freeze your character, and if that hits Serge, you can't do anything. You're lucky if you can just run away.
Yeah, so we meet Marcy in this library, and there's an old man up top. And for you Chrono Trigger fans, this old man is actually Balthazar, because this game takes place in kind of an alternate world in which Balthazar was propelled into a successful future where Lavos was defeated, rather than the one we know of in Chrono Trigger. So in short, all you have to know is everything is Balthazar's fault in this game. Everything. He has all the knowledge, he planned everything out, but he's purposefully playing the dullard. So yeah, that's my feelings on Balthazar. But you get the spinning map screens. I believe Evil Ash mentioned that if you get through all this text before the maps disappear, you've had some good mashing. That's just a little fun fact. And then Zero Umbra is going to come up on the code soon, so we'll see what kind of code he gets.
So, just to elaborate a little bit on, Carbon mentioned like this fight kind of being like one of the first. I think I also kind of consider it one of the first fights that kind of checks you on like how well you know and adapt to the game mechanics or whatever, or the speedrun mechanics. So Marcy actually has 2 HP flags that like Azalea is going to be watching for, and one of them's at her half health mark, where she will cat's cradle him, and then the other one is at crit health, which is 25%, where on her next turn, whenever she's in crit health, that's whenever she'll do the double Ice Blast. So basically, what you're going to see Izala do is basically try to, I'm assuming semi-count damage, but also make sure that he has stamina ready, that whenever he puts her like right before the crit health flag, and then basically before she gets to go another turn and Ice Blast, he'll finish her off.
Yeah, you saw him just do a 1-1 there with Serge. That's so that way he's staying under that 50% health mark. And so now he's going to stand push and try to get as much done. And so here's the Cat's Cradle. And then and he's going to try. We are hoping that she dies on this next turn.
Right. Okay, so now
yeah, that looks good.
Now, if she gets a turn, this is where she'll Ice Blast. But this is why he's using elements, even though we mentioned that they were kind of slow. It's because he's just trying to output damage for a little bit of AP. Oh, he almost killed her.
Yeah, it looks like he underdamaged just a little bit. Could be low strength. I saw he did a 1-1 and not a 1-2. So, but that was a good fight.
Yep, that was a very good fight. Yep.
Pierre almost had to step in and be a hero, but not today. Oh, a +2 for Serge. He's at 15.
Ooh, nice.
Oh wow.
Oh, he got the iron though.
Uh-oh.
He got the iron.
So,
That's
Deeds, would you like to explain about the iron drop and Ice Blast drop?
Oh man, this happened to me last night in one of my practice runs. So her 90% chance drop is an Ice Blast. And for the same reason that we want to have Lena in our party, goes along with us wanting that Ice Blast. It's a higher element, a higher level element, and it lets us do a really good damage with the blue element Ice Blast later on. And not getting that means we basically have to use a mid-tier element at a higher level to try and make up that damage, but it's not as good, basically. It's very sad not getting that Ice Blast.
Very sad. So it looks like Zero got a 28 code, which is average. You expect a sum of 10. But yeah, that's so unfortunate for Izala. It's 10% to get that iron. So you expect the Ice Blast. And I believe the difference in damage between what Izala is going to have to do is he's going to have to buy an extra Aqua Ball to put in place of that Ice Blast. And it has a base damage of, I think, 8 difference, which once you take all the multipliers and magic stats and whatever, it adds up to like 60 damage difference. It's quite a lot.
And not only that, the cast time for Ice Blast versus Aqua Ball is significant. So I think we'll use Ice Blast like, I don't know, 10 plus times. And every time you cast Ice Blast over Aqua Ball, you're saving about 4 seconds of time. So you could expect to lose, around 40 to 50 seconds just by not having it. And that doesn't even take into account Lena's magic. If Lena has very low magic, that's even worse. And then, well, we'll see what happens, but hopefully not.
So honestly though, like even though Izala missed out on the Ice Blast, having the good strength and honestly good AP in this fight kind of helped him out because he got the rare like 4-guard fight that has 2 sergeants in it. So that could have been very slow, but honestly this fight didn't go too badly.
Yeah, we mentioned before that the difference between 4-guard fights and 3-guard fights is pretty significant. But at his strength level, which is 15, if he had one more, could do a slightly quicker strategy against the guards, but that was decent as far as what I could see. It's a decent time to clear the guards.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
Sorry, I had never seen him do that strategy. That was very interesting because it wasn't just a 4-guard fight; it was a double sergeant fight,
Right.
Yeah,
which
I
is
got that
very
recently.
rare.
It's pretty rare.
And so, I mean, he got a very nice crit to kill the first sergeant, but then I was a little confused. He did a dash and slash on the private, which it looks like it worked out. I didn't see the whole fight, but seemed good.
Yeah, it was very good. He had 15 strength, opened up with the crit, and then decided that he wanted to dash and slash the other guard, just eliminate people that could go, I guess.
See on Zero Umbra's screen, he got an early interruption. So Pierre hit one, he was interrupted, and then he turned Serge yellow. Looks like things are going decently well, though. No misses so far.
Oh, he's so close to killing that one bulb. It's
Yeah.
on this hit. Boom.
There we go.
For
Yeah,
Izala,
no
so
misses.
past Marcy is actually another fight that can be very difficult to have go well if you're learning or new, or like even honestly past that, like things can just go wrong or whatever. This is another fight where you're kind of worrying about HP thresholds, you're counting AP, and you're basically going to try to control what Lynx does the entire fight, because he can be very deadly.
Yeah, at the start of the fight, we're worried about how much damage we do to Lynx, because if we put him into critical HP too quickly, he'll use an element called Nostrum, which will heal about a quarter of his HP, and because it's a black element, it will weaken Serge further. So it will prolong the fight significantly.
Is he gonna pilfer this
Izala
turn?
being very careful to not over-damage. And just in case he gets a crit here, alright, good, he did not.
Oh, we are hoping the kid does not get hit.
Yeah.
That's lucky.
Yep.
So Kid has a job to do. She's going to pilfer an item from Lynx. The 90% pilfer is a magic ring, which is what we hope to get. The 10% is a power glove, which can also be useful, but kind of depends on... Alright, got the magic ring. Depends on the stats of our future characters, whether or not we're gonna prefer the power glove or the magic ring. But by using the pilfer, Lynx will always respond with Imbecile, so that black element. So instead of healing, which he's in critical HP now, he chose that turn to use an element. Oh, nice. He's all finished off.
Good
Lynx
fight.
there. Good fight.
Good fight. Zero just went into the wrong room. But at least he didn't get the fight. He waited for the eye to close. But yeah, that was a good
16
fight.
strength, leaving the manor the first hour is actually pretty good.
It's very good, yeah.
Yeah,
That
very
plus
good
2
fight.
was helpful. Yeah, so Corporate was mentioning earlier, there's a gimmick to this fight where once Lynx hits critical health, 25% health, he'll do that Nostrum, which will heal for 200 health, and just delay the fight, put a black on the field. And so we override that with the Pilfer or the Dash and Slash. But Azala had the option, because he got that rare Eagle Eye drop. One of the things that makes that fight really slow and potentially dangerous is missing. And the Eagle Eye helps negate that quite significantly. So it was a choice to put it on and use it. He chose not to, but seemed to work out.
Yeah, overall, that was a 55. It looked like leaving Manor 1. That's kind of always what you want.
Wow, I didn't even see the time. Yeah, that's a good time.
Especially for a race, no reset, just hopping into it.
And that fight is why we call this Lynx 2, Lynx at Fort Dragonia, just because we do fight him at this point at Viper Manor as well. That's where the clarification comes from.
Now, if we want to be really specific, we didn't fight Lynx. We fought his
Ooh.
shadow.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, so we were trying to get the dragon's tier, we were looking for the frozen flame to try to go back to our time with Kid, but that was actually the dragon's tier that was sitting on Viper's desk. And Azala's gonna have some downtime for a little bit.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like there's a little bit of story stuff that's going on if we want to talk about that, but there's gonna be downtime on Azala's screen for probably about 10 minutes or so, and Umbra is actually getting to the two harder fights of the Manor coming up.
And you have to respect Kid, though. She tosses Riddell out of the way when Lynx throws that dagger.
Yeah, it really shows
is
the
true.
depth of her character. Hers and Lynx's character. Alright, here we go. Lynx is gonna say the thing, so get ready, everybody.
Oh, everybody prepare.
Assassin of Time. Chrono Trigger. Yeah.
Oh, Chrono Trigger. Sequel confirmed.
That one sentence probably angered so many people, but don't care. All right, so Izala's going to do this menu here, probably. We're going to exchange the iron dagger for the ivory dagger. And that way he could sell the iron dagger for a little bit of extra money. Also take off the revive for Pierre, because we'll need the revive later, potentially.
Yeah, we didn't touch on it. We grabbed the revive when we got the code for the statue, and that is the only revive that we get throughout the entire run. Lynx percent or any percent. And that thing is super valuable. Obviously,
So
we
good.
hope we never use it, but when you need to, you are glad you have it.
You
All
never
right,
really
Zero
hope
is
with Chrono
engaging
Cross.
Marcy. So let's see how... We're starting off with the kid strats. Nice. Unfortunately, double misses, though.
Ouch.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a few different ways to do this Marcy fight, and if Kid has the proper strength, and assuming that Serge has really low strength, it's better to do Kid strats, because she's likely to crit and hit against Marcy, because they're opposing elements. I've done it many times in the past, and I found it to be pretty consistent, but just unfortunate start to that fight for Zero Umbra.
Right. There's also a couple other things you can do. Like if you're counting damage and you have a pretty good estimate about where you're at, there's things like if you miss like on a important turn or whatever, you can defend across the board to pass your turn so that you get all your stamina and everything back so that you can appropriately push her over the threshold that you need to.
All right, Kid just lived the Cat's Cradle attack.
5 HP.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Going for the
Ooh.
dash
Uh-oh,
slide.
wait. This is
Uh-oh.
going to put her into crit, so he might be seeing the Ice Blast.
If
Yeah.
Kid does a 3-3 and hits, I think it'll be fine. But he's going for the safe fireball, so Pierre's gonna have to probably step in.
Yeah,
If-
I think
if it-
he had to do the threes that you said.
All right, Pierre, be the hero. You can do it.
Let's see
No.
if Pierre. Let's see if Pierre's gonna be a hero.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Zero Umbra playing it safe.
Oh.
He double defended, which caused. Actually, this is good. This is actually good for him. It might not look it.
Yeah.
But that's very
Oh,
fast.
one Ice Blast. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Serge can finish off. All right, pretty good fight for Zero. We don't care so much about Kid getting level ups, HP or strength. It just helps to save an extra menu for having to heal her up later.
Yeah.
But Serge got to 13. which is good
And
for
he
Zero.
got the normal
Ice
drop.
Blast.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
been.
so-
Oh, go ahead.
I was
Carvin.
gonna say that fight could have gone a lot worse, especially seeing the Ice Blast.
Right.
Her just perma targeting Kid was, even though she's one of our primary damage dealers in that fight, actually was fortunate for him because after he defeats Lynx the first time, we don't care about Kid at all. So we really want to make sure that Serge lives through it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
we've
there's
been
a lot of ways.
ignoring what's been going on Izala's screen because there's a certain character on there that we in the Chrono Cross community don't really like. Korcha. Yeah. He's kind of annoying. That's kind of the short end of it.
He's
but-
also a signal of bad luck.
Yeah.
I'll die on that hill.
Well, I know he's in the chat. Our friend Azrael Hobbs, he's a huge Korcha lover.
Oh man.
He's created a rift in the community.
He's,
Yeah, I think Korcha is actually a pretty decent character, but he's there to not like, and so therefore he's good. You gotta have someone you don't like in a story, right? But well, here we're learning more about the plot. Kid, in the attempt to save Riddell from being hit with a dagger, she got scratched on the arm, and that dagger was poisoned. So here she's lying sick, and Korcha's like, hey, your friend is sick. What are you going to do about it? You just heard from the doctor that there's no cure in this world. And so we make a choice. We say, no, we're not going to save Kid. And if you choose to save her, you'll get Korcha in your party, which no one wants. And you have to go on an extra journey through marshes, and basically you use up a lot of time to save Kid. However, by rejecting this offer, we're going to get access to a character, Glenn, later, who's really good. And Kid will be fine anyway. She literally cannot die in the game, except in a fight. But, so yeah, that's what all that was about. So now that we rejected Korch's offer, we're going to go back to him and say, hey, give me your boat. And he's going to pitch a fit because he's a teenager. And his mom's going to show him what for after that.
Real fast, Zero also got the unlucky 4-guard fight, but he didn't get 2 sergeants. He got the other rare 4-guard fight of 4 privates.
Nice.
So,
yeah, normally the 4-guard fight is 3 silver armored guards, the privates, and 1 sergeant. But occasionally you get the what happened today. All right, it looks like he got lucky with Kid not being hit.
I know, I've been so nervous for Kid this whole time, actually.
Nice.
Taking the risk not to heal because you can heal at the end of every fight. And it's really convenient when it works out this way, that you can just heal Kid at the end of the fight without having to take extra time.
yeah, that was lucky that she did not get hit. DaveCom3 asks if we get access to Frog or if he's just named the same. And so in this game, that's technically Glenn, who we're gonna get. So yes, which also gives us access to the famous Chrono Trigger dual tech of X Strike, and that's pretty much the entire reason we get him. Outside of he does some good damage with a high stamina refresh.
Yeah, Glenn's name was like a slight nod to Chrono Trigger, but he's not the same character at all. Alright, Zero Umbra is getting ready for his Lynx fight. Izala.
Also,
oh god.
no, I was gonna say it's probably a good thing to mention that Zero Umbra is also going into this Lynx fight with a good bit lower strength. He's at 13 strength at the moment, which is very So, it's a good thing to watch out for.
Yeah, Andy had we'll see if Zero does it, but Andy had come up with a turn yellow strat that helps fix some of the damage problems when you have lower strength, because it'll remove a black from the field and you put it on Kid so she does slightly more damage. So we'll see if he goes for it.
Yeah, the field starts with a black on the field, which automatically weakens Surge's attack power, but by using a turn yellow or an eagle eye, it pushes that black off, and then Serge will be able to do a lot more damage. Looks like he's foregoing the turn yellow, that's fine. Because you have to take a risk. You have to have Pierre run up, hit, and turn him yellow, and before Lynx gets a turn, and you can never guarantee that.
Yeah, he got a really late starting Lynx attack, which is very fortunate. He then decided to do a 2-2, which I think he should have done a 3. But I think that'll help him, well, not with that miss, but it would have helped him with the damage that he was missing.
Yeah, we mentioned before that we gotta pay close attention to Lynx's HP. We don't want to bring him to critical HP too quickly. So when things go either wrong or differently at the very start of the fight, you kind of have to adjust. I personally don't count myself. I just kind of guesstimate. But it looks like Zero is playing it cautiously.
Man, these misses are rough.
Yeah.
So
There's
this
The
is.
only...
Go ahead, Andy.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say go ahead, Carbon. I'll go after you.
I was just saying, like, these misses are a showcase of why it was lucky that Izala got the Eagle Eye, even though he didn't use it, because I think Serge has missed 3 times now, and just based on how the percentages work, you expect 2 misses. There's the 4th one. So it just helps eliminate this entire problem, because the slower you are at killing Lynx, the more hits he's going to do, and he hits like a truck.
And for
Yeah.
speedrun purposes, it's faster to forego the Eagle Eye. Better not to use it, which is probably why Izala did it. But because you have to spend the time investment to use it in the fight, which is like, what, 6-8 seconds. So if you get the ideal hits that you get, then you actually save time over having to use it. But in this case, for a race for the tournament, it's probably better to play it safe if you can. So, all right. Unfortunately, Zero got the Nostrum heal, so this fight's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and now there's 2 blacks on the field, really reducing Serge's damage. Oh, and he's just getting miss after miss. This is...
I don't want to jinx him, so I'll say it after the fight. But there's a point I wanted to bring up because I have a very bad problem of cursing people.
He is getting bullied. At least no one has died yet. For this many rounds, nobody dying. That is...
That's what I was gonna say.
That's a
honestly.
blessing.
That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to curse.
I mean, if he keeps missing, it's inevitable.
Right.
All right, so he did the dash and slash, so that'll force this anti-white.
White, right. Takes up Lynx's turn.
And he is in crit now, so maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah, what's he gonna do?
I think he has like 100 to 150 damage still to go, though. Like, he's barely
I think he has
in
to
crit.
swing 3s with Pierre here. Oh, well.
It looks like Serge is also fatigued, so that when he uses his like
I think
2s and 3s, that takes up extra stamina, which means he gets less attacks off.
No, it's just the
Alright.
anti-white.
Oh, the
Anti-white.
anti-white. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Okay, we got through it though. So that's the
Success!
important part. Let's
Good job,
go.
Zero.
Yeah, that was very rough. Misses in that fight can make that fight go really, really badly.
Wow. Nobody died.
That was what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to. Whenever I said I didn't want to curse anybody, is that like honestly, it was very nice. Even though we had a lot of misses, it was very nice that Lynx was kind of spreading out attacks
Yeah.
because
It
he
should be
can.
noted-
And
I was gonna say, it should be noted that in this game, for the run, whether it's Lynx 2% or any percent, the runner has an option to always run away from an enemy. If things look bad and you think you're gonna get knocked out or wipe or game over, you can always run away and heal up. There's an exception to that, but there's a way to deal with it as well. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So Zero was doing a very good job hanging on at the end there. But if things did look dicey, if Serge got knocked out and it was just Pierre versus Lynx, it probably would have been wise to run away. But it would have cost a significant amount of time though.
And with that, we are about halfway through this match. Just to do a quick roll call for all the commentators, for all the new people in chat. I'm Silver Deets.
I'm Corporate Image.
I'm super handy.
And I am Carbon Drang. Yeah, so we were so invested in Zero's Lynx fight because that was a doozy. Izala has just finished up in Termina, if you saw. So he finished up in Goldove, basically got access to a boat through Matcha, Korcha's mother. He then purchased a bunch of elements, including an extra aqua ball since he missed that ice blast. Bought weapons for Lena and Glenn. Talked to Glenn, and here is where we are gonna get Glenn. And we're gonna hope to see some high strength on him. We're looking for 16 plus. That would be just immaculate.
We get to see if the pH theory, his pet theory, is correct. So Pasha was at 16 strength. So PH, another runner in the community who will actually be doing some of these races at some point, has a pet theory where, not really, but he goes by if Pasha has high strength, he feels really unlucky for what he's going to see for Glenn. So we'll see if that holds true.
Yeah, throughout the run, we've been talking a little bit about strength and maybe a little bit about magic, but it comes more into play in the any percent run that's about 7 hours long. So we are sort of keeping track of Serge's strength, and depending on how high of the strength he had, we can do different strats for those for different fights. But at this point of the game, 16 strength for Glenn, very nice.
Ooh, nice.
At this
That's
point of the
nice.
game, we're going to start switching over from Serge dealing damage to Glenn and Lena eventually. So that's why we're keeping track, because depending on what their strength values are, we're going to have to deal with fights in very particular ways.
Yeah.
I missed Lena's magic. Did anybody see it?
We'll see it in a second. But what you'll also notice is that he replaced both Pierre and Paschal for Glenn and Matcha. And we don't use Matcha at all. But 11 strength Lena, that's a
Ooh.
little low. She's supposed to average around 12, so it's just slightly low. But if we do not take Matcha with us, she will have the greatest cutscene ever, but it is slow. And what she'll do is she'll be like, all right, well, you don't want to, even if you accept her, like in your party or not, if you don't put her directly in your your band of people, she will swim away, and that takes like 20 to 30 seconds. It is an excellent cutscene, but not for the speedrun.
Yeah, Matcha makes a gracious dive and does backstroke all the way home. It's pretty incredible. But we'll see Izala. He bought a bunch of elements and Marbule, and this is where we get, I mean, he had Eagle Eye before, but now we're going to start equipping things like Strengthen, Eagle Eye, Turn Blue, and we're going to make use of those throughout pretty much the rest of the run. As he makes his way to the Ghost Ship, so we'll have fun talking about that. Zero just finished up Lynx 1. He's going through Goldove, starting the Goldove cutscene, so he's going to be here for about 10 more minutes. Yeah.
There is still a chance. So, Lena has 11 magic, which is very much low, and Izala missed the Ice Blast. But luckily, it's going to matter some on the Ghost Ship, but luckily, we do have a little bit of time that Chrono Cross could be kind and start tossing some magic and stuff for Lena and Izala. So that's what we're going to be hoping for over these course of 3 fights that are coming up on the Ghost Ship. Well, 3 boss fights.
Yeah, Lena's magic, while it is low, it's not so much of a concern right now. She has
Right.
plenty of fights and opportunities to pick it up to a reasonable level. Basically, it would be perfect. The absolute perfect case would for her to be about 14 or 15, which is the next 4 fights that we're going to do by the time we fight Fire Dragon. That would be absolutely perfect. Very unlikely, though. But if she can hit about 14 or 15 when we enter the fort, we can manage pretty well. What we do not want to see is her to be like 13 or less, or 12 or less when we do that. That would be just horrific.
Yeah.
But Azala's he's starting the Ghost Ship, and this is one of the biggest RNG sections of this run. What's going to end up happening is we're going to have to get a key later. And there's 3 potential spots for it. 4 if you mess up, but you should never expect 4 because you should do it properly. And you can get a first key, a second key, or a third key. And each one takes about 40 seconds to a minute later than, the one before. So if you get a third key, that's about an extra 2 minutes that you have to spend.
Yes, and after these fights coming up, we're going to have the runners go through the Ghost Ship. And the Ghost Ship itself is fairly consistent. All the ghosts that'll show up to bar your way are predictable, and you can adjust for that with good movement. However, doors in Chrono Cross are extremely hard to open. And especially on this Ghost Ship, I think they were intended to make very small hitboxes for these doors, because when a ghost will show up to chase you, it increases that panic, like, I gotta get out of here. So we're gonna see how the runners handle opening the doors. The more experienced you are, the easier it is, but every now and then it's easy to make a mistake, so we'll see.
Izala just ran away from that fight. I love plot-wise that it's like, right now we're at the point where, you have to prove yourself to us, so you gotta do these fights, and you just literally run away from the first fight.
Prove yourselves. Run away! Yeah, that's pretty perfect. Isn't it just odd, though, that Fargo just has these skeletons just on his ship?
That's true.
Why the Ghost Ship went after them?
Oh, that's a very early flap.
Early flap, yep.
So,
all right.
And she's dead. So, in this fight, Polly has, I believe it's 21 AP worth. So, it's very rare for Polly to go that early. And our entire goal of this fight is to get a turn blue off and to get an Ice Blast, or in Azala's case, an Aqua Ball at level 4 off. And what that does is that puts 3 blues on the field. We get to boost the damage of that element that Lena would have done. And the blues, which will reduce the damage of this flap. And because Lena's blue and flap is red, you saw that it just yeeted her just into the ground.
Yep.
It did 130 damage. She has 120 health. If Izala was able to get that blue element off, she very likely would have lived. Maybe with 1 health, maybe 2, but it would have been so much safer.
Yeah, HP values are random in this game, and Lena at this point usually has around 100 to like 120 plus. And so Izala had a high HP on Lena, which is great, but because he didn't get off the other element in time, yeah, unfortunately was unable to survive. Bad level for everybody. No strength
Honestly,
and no magic.
Handled really nicely. Like, even though Lena died in the beginning, he didn't panic and like revive her immediately like that. He like did his attacks. He spent his AP, and then after Polly did the second flap, that's when he revived her so that she didn't have any chance of dying. So she could get her magic up. It's really important because the characters that are alive at the end of boss fights are the only ones that even get a chance to get a stat up.
He is getting all the low APs.
Yeah.
He literally just got 2 rolled. What you're saying is totally true, Handy. That delay on the revive was very smart. Just accepting that he was going to get double flapped. Honestly, I don't think I would have done that. And I probably would have been punished for it. So that was very intelligent by him.
Yeah, in the past, I would just run away and restart the fight, but using the revive carries its own risk, especially as you mentioned, if you do it early. But now we're on Fargo. Fargo is a much more consistent fight. It's not, I mean, it's less dangerous. Oh, a crit. It's less dangerous, but it still carries its risks. If you fail to heal in between fights, there's a good chance he knocks somebody out like Lena or whoever was targeted by the flap. But
Izala almost ran. He was close. So one of the biggest dangers of doing defense is accidentally overmeshing and running away. And just completely undoing all of your good work. But fortunately, he caught himself.
You're telling me a CC runner has ever done that?
Never.
So I saw Lena get to 12 magic. That's good for him. So our reward for proving our worth to Fargo is to be, was it poisoned and put back in being locked in a room. But we'll see the results of what that is.
Yeah, so now that he's done the initial fights, we got poisoned and now we're held captive in the ship. And this is where we have to do that key RNG that's about to come. But this is also one of the most technical movements of this game. It's not very hard once you get used to it. It's definitely it's a learning curve. I can tell you that I've done hundreds of runs and still failed this. Recently gotten a lot better, but we're gonna do what's called a ghost dance. Now, if you're not comfortable doing it, a lot of people just end up taking an extra fight. It's faster than trying to do the dance and then running and dealing with all that. Just take the fight. But there's a ghost that we're gonna basically just run in circles in a very small corridor, avoiding a fight and then progressing the plot.
Also, funnily enough, I think it's the only 2 places you can do it in the entire game, but Azala's gonna run away again here, and it's also a fight that in the game is just like, oh yeah, you didn't want to fight that? Alright, peace. And then just let you go right on by.
Yeah, on this ship there are three encounters where that's the case, and that's the second one. Alright, key duty is a big responsibility, so they say.
Yeah, so Izala, he talked to that door. If you don't talk to that door, basically you're guaranteed to get what is called a 4th key, where you have to check all the key locations and then go back to the guy that's like, pretty much the first guy that we're going to talk to. So that talking to that door is the most critical thing. And then this is the dance that Izala's doing.
Yeah, so you have to talk to that pirate guarding the door while going in circles. And nice dodge.
Not even close.
So here's the fourth guy. He's originally supposed to have the key, but again, if you leave that doorway too early, then there's a chance that you check the other 3 locations, and then you have to run back to him, talk to him again. But because he waited there, that won't be the case. So the key will be in one of 3 locations. But every time you check for a key, you have to fight an encounter. So this is our first encounter here.
This is a good encounter.
Yeah.
Like
And
commentators bets on which key he'll get.
first, he's had really good luck. First key.
I
Third.
also
I'm gonna
think
say
first.
No, I don't hope for third for anybody. Let's say second key. Third is too mean.
And actually, Corp was right. I misspoke earlier. If you don't talk to the door, you actually have to go all the way and then go back to the door. You actually can't even start the key like quest until you talk to that door.
Oh, double miss.
Oof, he misses. Okay.
Oh, triple miss.
No.
And it's if you leave that corridor too soon before the guy finishes speaking, that's when you have to do the fourth key. But in order, like in the sequence from when we talked to that guy who's like, I don't have the key, maybe it's somewhere. Ooh, not first. The guy that we just did is technically the second person, but it is the first key because we pick up that chest which contains 5 panaceas. And those panaceas in any percent, and even in cap percent or Lynx 2% is super valuable.
Ooh, sword dance.
And the fight that guards the panacea one generally gives us the most money because it's guaranteed to have a wraith in it.
So we saw those skeletons, the crossbones, use an attack called Sword Dance. It's pretty dangerous against Serge because he takes extra damage against it, but it also puts a black on the field. So Izala did a dash and slash against the enemy, and if that black was not on the field, it most likely would have knocked out that crossbones, but because he used it, he had to have Glenn run up and finish him off.
Yeah.
All right, third key, poor Izala.
Ooh. Yeah.
He knew he had to check the third key first. There's actually a meme that Azala and I have where it's third key first, and basically it's just skip everything and just go to this
Third key.
the third key first. It's it's down the stairs, it's through all these loading zones. If it's not here, you're completely messed up. You don't even get the good money.
It's like the kamikaze of like if you're already having a bad run and you just like hate your life like with the run you're doing, sometimes it's just go down for third key first and see if you get it.
Exactly. Run without panaceas, figure it out. Oh man.
Izala does have the chance to get a lag star since this is the third key check. Does anybody want to explain how the lag star works?
You do.
Does anyone actually know? Because it's
Okay,
it's not a mini star.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a unique mini star in the fact that if the game knows you're going to get a +2 in the next fight, the game will give you a +1 to strength to any character. It could be any one of those 3. So if you see a +1 to strength, you're like, oh, that's great because the next boss fight is going to give you a +2. But only if you're going to get a +2. So it's a bit strange.
I didn't know.
Okay. Oh,
I didn't either.
Izala hit the dead beat.
Ooh.
He went just a little too high. Yeah, the ghost ship is, definitely probably the most technical and precise movement that you need to have in this game.
Yeah, but we mentioned mini stars. So in this game, you don't really have to grind enemies to get stronger. All the boss fights will provide you with stat ups and HP gains as you go along. But per star level, every time you fight a boss that's a big star, your star level goes up. So every star level, there's a certain amount of enemies you have to defeat to get what is called a mini star, which is like a level up. So that gives you a chance for strength, magic, resistance, whatever. And so in this category, we don't really have to worry about mini stars at all. But there are a few places where they do show up. One was the potential lag star. Oh god, it's all scaring me. Dodging that ghost. Okay. I picked up the photon beam by muscle memory, probably.
Yeah, he did not need to. In this percent, he didn't need to pick it up. But It's technically
So
free.
easy.
Yeah, that chest is actually the only chest in the game that you can pick up and still move. Every other chest you have to, when you pick it up, your movement stops. So that one is fortunately one that we use later in any percent, and is free to pick up.
We're about
There's
to
the
get
third.
Glenn.
Yeah, Zero Umbra's about to get Glenn, so we could see what his strength will be. Maybe he'll get lucky.
It's got to be high.
Yeah.
Zero somehow, I don't know if he bestows it on himself, but every time he's been in my chat, made himself known, he gives me like 18 strength Glens. So he's guaranteed to have like a max strength Glen. Guaranteed.
Yeah, so
We're all
Glenn's
waiting to
strength
see
could be
this, yeah.
anywhere from 10 to 20. 20 is incredible. Yeah, 15. All right, so average Glenn. But that will determine how the fights go after the ghost ship. Because again, during the ghost ship section, we're still relying on Serge's strength. But after that, we're going to switch over to Glenn and Lena to do our major damage.
Death Tax asks, "Is this race to the midpoint of the game?" And this is more about the first third of the game. Would be more accurate. The roughly Lynx 2, would be around a 2.5-hour run, give and take. Whereas the full run would be more about 7 hours or so, give and take.
Also, right now, Izala is facing off against Deadhead. Is this the first time we use Eagle Eye?
Yes.
Yeah, Eagle Eye, yes.
Yes, yeah. So
You
saw that we
can-
used Eagle Eye. Oh, go ahead.
You
No,
can
explain.
use it on the Fargo fight. Oh, you want me to explain Eagle Eye? So,
Yeah.
the way that Eagle Eye works is you see with all of our hit percentages, like Lena was at like 92% to hit a one attack, and we've been doing this before, where basically Eagle Eye gives us a 99% chance to hit, and hit percents in this game are exact, so it is actually a 99% chance to hit and not 100. But that's way better than a 72% or a 94%. And so it almost guarantees that we get to hit our attacks. And in this fight in particular, it also pushes off some blacks, boosting our damage, etc. But many a runner has missed that 99% hit.
Yeah, during the 80% runs, you can expect to miss at least one 99% throughout the 7 hours.
Yeah, and in any percent, for those who are familiar, we get access to Sprig, who can transform into other, basically enemies, and we get a super powerful enemy in what's called the White Knight. There's only one of it, so it's vital that we get it. And that White Knight has a base 94% chance to hit a very powerful 3 attack. And then once you hit that first one, it goes to 99% basically. And when you miss those, it feels awful.
I saw.
Actually,
Oh, go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like this actually might be a good point, since it's about to come up in a lot of the fights, to mention why, besides just like what they do, like strengthen an Eagle Eye and stuff like that, and like why they're important that way. So in the speed run, we actually take advantage of the fact that no matter where you allocate the strengthen element or the eagle element, they are the exact same. They last the same amount of AP. They do the same amount of effects. So what you're gonna see is all of the runners are gonna put strengthen and eagle eye and those kind of like boost elements on their level 1. So you only have to do 1 attack to build to them, and so that we can basically boost our main damage dealer character in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, they have this. They last the same amount of time. They have the same effect. All the status, like boosting or like buffing or debuffing elements, same effect, same duration, regardless of what level you put it on. O'Malley asks, how many AP do they last? And the answer is, it actually depends on what the stamina refresh rate of your character is. But generally, as a good rule of thumb, is that it lasts 30 AP worth or 30 stamina worth of duration. So realistically, what that means is it's about 3 rounds, effectively. 3 or 4 rounds is a good rule of thumb. But one of the other things to note with these Eagle Eye strengthens that we put them in very specific places. Silver had mentioned this earlier, but about like party order. Eagle Eye and Strengthen, they will automatically target basically our first character, whoever's up front, and that'll be in the battle. That's who's in the middle. So what we get to do is just basically just mash on the element, so that way we know who it's hitting every single time, and we also put them in very particular places in our element grid, so that way we can do the same thing. It's in the same spot, it's consistent. We automatically go to it when we want to do the element, and we can just fly right through it.
Yeah, so we see Izala setting up for this fight, equipping elements, equipping equipment. The Dragoon Gauntlet went on Glenn, the Honor went on Lena, because that gives her a +1 to magic. But, Deed, why don't you explain a little bit about this fight?
Oh man.
You can do it.
Probably everyone new to this game is going to forget to heal when you walk through the lava, and you're going to forget to do this menu, and you're gonna get into this fight, and they're doing this tutorial text like they always do in every Salt and Pepper fight, and you can actually hold down circle, and it will automatically skip through all the text, just holding down circle. But you still have to sit through this whole animation. We'll get to some W's in chat in just a second here.
Yeah, chat, I need you to prepare your W's, please.
Yeah, this is PH's favorite bit.
Oh, did we address O'Malley's, had a question about how many AP, because the game never actually tells you about AP with the bosses, and the fact that we got them from it's from the Ultimecia guides, right? Is where we got that information from?
Yeah, so I had mentioned it earlier.
Okay,
I can
I
read
missed
it
that.
if you want.
Yeah, so this Salt and Pepper fight is one of the last tutorial. I think it is the last tutorial fight. It teaches you about traps, sort of. But as usual, Salt and Pepper are not the swiftest people in the book. So Pepper cannot believe Salt's stupidity, so he gets really angry and starts attacking on him for us, which is really nice. But after this fight, there are going to be some really nice drops. The common drops for Salt and Pepper help the character Lena and Serge defensively so that they can get through the next fight. But the rare drops are where it's at. The rare drops can really boost Lena's attack power and Glenn's attack power. But it's a 1 in 10, 10% chance they'll get the rare drop, 90% chance they'll get the common drop. With good strength, good magic, this fight goes off without a hitch. There's nothing really to worry about. But last I checked, Izala's Lena is really low, or relatively low on magic. I think she's still stuck at 12. But Glenn is doing very well, so that fight went pretty nicely. All right, see what the drops are.
Yeah, he really wants a Sky Gen. You always want it, but like in particular, Zola wants it right now.
All right,
There's
a
the comment.
+2 for Glenn, but standard drops, so it's pretty nice. Straight off.
Yeah, that fight, honestly, if there was ever a time that I wanted every drop, it would be on that fight. The
Right.
defenses are so valuable. The Skygen Ring, which is a +2 to your magic. The Dragoon Gauntlet is a +3 to your strength. I just want it all, and sadly, you can't have it all. He got a very good level up, and over on Zero's screen, it looks like his Glenn was not actually that powerful. It looks like he picked him up at 15, which is roughly average. But he got a nice level up on Poly.
Nice.
You're also about to see Azala take the only safety save that I think they've agreed to in this first, or in this Lynx 2% race. Mainly just because Fire Dragon coming up can be one of the only fights that can really, really, really go badly in the first 2 hours. If you try to run from him, he tries to pull you immediately back in, so you can't run and just heal. So they're doing it just for safety right here.
That's pretty much the only fight you cannot run from, and menu immediately before doing the fight again, right?
I think you can run the second time and get a heal off.
Yeah, so what you would
Oh, that's
do,
right. You have to run twice. Yeah.
yeah, you would run away, then get pulled right back into the fight. Then you run again so that whoever got knocked out is restored to 1 HP, and then use your consumables to heal up after that.
Right.
But the safety save is a safety save, so
Yeah. And I don't think we mentioned this. We were talking about AP a little bit, but bosses, well, Izala just got kind of screwed. He just got 1 rolled.
1 AP. That's rough.
But a boss cannot go the first turn. You are guaranteed to be able to do at least 1 attack before the boss can go. And normally what we would try to do is do some setup on this boss because it's dangerous. The Fire Dragon has such high defense, very low AP, meaning that it cycles through attacks very quickly. So we don't do as much. We have less time to do as much damage as we want. That's a very
good.
nice crit.
Especially since he got 1 roll. 1 roll in this
Yeah.
fight is very rough.
Yeah, because what we're hoping to do is to do a 1 into an Eagle Eye into a Glen 3/3 to push basically 100 damage before the Fire Dragon gets to go, and he just wasn't allowed to do that. He's also missing the Ice Blast, which is actually a big. It's a lot of damage that he's going to miss on this fight in particular. So we might see a double Fire Rebreath.
yeah. But luckily, that crit from Glenn might prevent that double fire breath. Might. Not guaranteed for it. Depends on Serge's magic. I'm not sure what he's at, but let's see. This does over 100. Nah, Serge is like average.
Luckily, he avoided the terrible. Okay, it's like he did fiery breath Lena right off the first fiery breath, which can go very badly. Oh
No,
Lena. Yeah, it was risky to not have healed,
Yeah.
but he can revive her. I hope he doesn't do it now. Oh, he's doing it now.
Well,
I think he's investing in
Fire
her
Dragon's
magic,
really
even
low
though-
HP, so if he goes in for 1 more attack, I think that's it. I'm not sure about this Aqua Ball though, but I think if Glenn did a 3/3, it might do it. All right, nice.
Okay. Hey, we
Okay,
got
good.
through it on a 1 AP roll, so that's really nice.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse.
The Fire Dragon has a chance to drop a magic ring as a rare drop, and that would help out. He did not, but that would have helped out Lena a little bit more.
You
Also,
were-
I was gonna say Zero Umbra is actually also about to get to the point where he's gonna do Ghost Dance, get whatever key he's gonna get. So what's y'all's prediction on Zero Umbra's key?
First key.
First key.
Ski.
Let's go.
What we all
first key.
hope for.
First key. Spread the love. You almost ran into the second key guy though. But you were right, Carp. Oh wow, what is that
Oh,
movement?
So that ghost, it might have him trapped up against that corner. I'm not sure if he runs away, if he's going to be able to get away. So I think
And he might just take the
fight.
fight.
Yeah.
I think you take the fight.
Oh, and he got 0 rolled.
Yeah, in this game, although you can run from every enemy, sometimes if you are up against a wall or a corner, if you run from an enemy, you will just get an encounter immediately afterward. So you have to take the fight sometimes.
It looks like he had a good fight. He had a very. So most people, when they do the ghost dance, they come from the bottom and then kind of circle counterclockwise. Zero seemed to kind of do the opposite. He came from the top and then went back, which I think is where he got caught. But overall, that was still a good fight. Azala is on one of the potentially most troll fights in this game. The 3 Devas. They just have a lot of health. They have various AP values, so they go at different turns, and they just whittle you down if the fight doesn't go to plan. And so
Okay, well,
got a good kill on Marcy, even though she got 2 turns. He also had an early Zoa attack, it looks like, so we might be seeing Geronimo.
Yeah, so Zoa is yellow elemental, so when he uses his attack Geronimo, that's gonna, well, it'll hurt whoever it hits, but more importantly, it'll put a yellow on the field, which is gonna weaken Glenn's attack power, but looks like
He's good.
nice. Did not happen.
nice. Okay, that's a good fight, or a good start to the fight.
Yeah, anytime you can not get Geronimo, it's pretty good. there's been some good strategy that's come out in the past, I guess, 2 years to use a strengthen on this fight. We used to do a turn red, and that's really helped ensure that we get to kill Marcy and Zoa.
Pretty early on, yeah.
Yeah. I think if Izala had the Ice Blast, I think Karsh would die there. And that's just an unfortunate drop, but...
Yeah, Mount Pyre is definitely where you feel like not having the Ice Blast a lot.
Yeah, the Ice Blast or stats or both. Another plus
Or
2 for
both.
Glenn.
Wow.
Lena's still
Alright.
at 13, but that's not like you can get by. Like if you really want to be at like 14, 15, like you really want to start getting up there, but like I'm also talking about that with having an Ice Blast, so it's actually even worse now thinking about it not having an Ice Blast as well.
Ooh, it looks like Zero forgot to grab the Panaceas, even though he did the fight.
Well, he's gonna go back up there anyway, so if he needs it, he'll pick it up. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, I was not paying attention, but
Unfortunately, Zero Umbra also, both of the fights he's gotten so far to check for keys have been 3 encounters and misses. It's not friendly encounters.
yeah, the ghost ship is pretty merciless. So
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest RNG sections of the run.
and movement sections. There are a few in the game that require really precise movement to know where enemies' positionings are and how to dodge them. So this is like one of the major ones.
Yeah.
We'll see a couple rooms in Fort Dragonia, which is where Izala is going into right now, where it's not as bad, but similarly, he's going to have to be careful with his movement.
Right. I also think that, so what's interesting about a Lynx 2% is that this is getting towards like the end of the Lynx 2%, and it's really interesting because essentially all of Fort Dragonia is just a boss rush mode, like all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah, in the fort, what we have to do is basically open or touch 4, well, technically 6 pillars, and we'll see it later. It was alluded to at the very start of the game, but to get access to where we're going, we need to open these pillars, and 4 of them are guarded by bosses. This is where Lena really shines. This fort is the entire reason that we pick up Lena. Unfortunately,
Why
Azalea.
we say no to Kid.
Yeah, this is why we say no to Kid. You know, throughout any percent and everything, like the fastest thing to do is just be mean to Kid. Don't save her. Don't take her along. Nothing else. But this Dragoon. So normally, if you play casually, what the game kind of entices you to do, and what we end up, what you would normally do is, when we get Glenn, he tells us, go to this island and meet up with Radius, and Radius will then tell you to go seek the Water Dragon's blessing. That Water Dragon's blessing freezes the lava in Mount Pyre, which we didn't do, and it gives us a Frog Prince element, which is our first summon of the game. We didn't do that. So the game is like, okay, well, you didn't do it. So it throws that Dragoon in the way that we have to kill. And that Dragoon gives us the Frog Prince.
Looks like Zero Umbra got second key.
Yep,
Then on the way out, tried to play it safe around the deadbeat that's darting around and got hit on the way out. But yeah, the Frog Prince summon. As you mentioned, Lena really shines here because of that summon. And I didn't know much about it when I played casually, but in order to summon something, you have to fill up at the field, which I mentioned in the top left corner, with a full color. So all 3 have to be blues in the case for Frog Prince. And then not have that field interrupted, then you could summon the Frog Prince when you have enough stamina, and you get to see a lot of damage done. So the higher the magic score on Lena, the more damage you're going to have Frog Prince do. And generally for the run, we look for Lena to have 15 magic. Right now, Izala has 14 on her. So he's going to do a backup strat against the next boss because of that 1 magic point. At least I think Izala will.
Yeah.
So similar to the.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, similar to the dream sequence, you're gonna see the runners kind of play very cautiously around the bats. The bats are troll everywhere in this game.
They really are the worst.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting to say this until we got there, but yeah, this whole fort, this is the exact dream sequence area. Where we started the dream sequence at the beginning of the game is just slightly later in this fort. And yeah, this section is a bunch of learning fights, hoping that Lena has a bunch of magic, because the way that you really go fast in this is if she has magic. Mount Pyre, like the volcano section, and this fort really are stat checks for Lena's magic and Glenn's strength. And we were mentioning this earlier, elements are inherently slow. They're slow to do because it takes 7 stamina of your kind of delays when you get to go again, and the animation time is just a bit long. So if Lena was, I think, 15, maybe 16, if she was 16, maybe 15, we could skip a couple elements that we would do, which would help speed up some of these fights. It doesn't really change the risk of the fights, it's just the time of it.
Right. Also, Azala not forgetting to hit the pillar, because no runner's ever done that either.
No runner's ever done that on PB pace or
Never.
anything. Never.
All runners are guilty of messing up this room. It's just so easy to get sidetracked in this room, because when you do it enough times, you just kind of go on autopilot. At least I do, and mistakes were made.
I think it's just so funny that there are certain shared experiences that every CC runner has. Like, we can all be like, oh, yeah, I've accidentally accepted kid. Like, I've accidentally done the pillar, or I've accidentally not talked to the door before going to check the keys. Everybody does them at like at least one time.
At least once. Actually, I think Evil Ash said once that he has never said yes to kid.
That's crazy.
You believe him?
I do.
I don't know.
Honestly, that's the most impressive stat line I've ever heard.
He is the GOAT.
That's true.
I see Zero Umbra facing off against Deadhead. We mentioned that bosses can never take the first action in a fight. Deadhead is the exception, but only slightly, because you see 5 deadbeats there, and they take the first action of the fight to form Deadhead. So Deadhead is actually a very consistent boss fight because it does take that first action. So we know that Deadhead is going to do 6 APs worth, or give you 6 APs worth of attacks and element uses before he takes his next turn. We saw Izala go through that room with the chests, skillfully dodging the bats. It's really nice. He approaches giant gloop.
Actually, I do have, while we're before the gloop stuff, there's something really interesting with the Deadhead fight, where if you look at the memory of it, there's actually 6 enemies in the encounter, 5 of which are those little deadbeats that were before. Now, they have no impact on the fight, but they're there in memory. And then the 6th enemy is Deadhead. Yeah.
Right.
I think Zero Umbra has really good magic on Lena, if I'm not mistaken, but his Serge is kind of weak. We'll see. If this Cure Plus does like 120-ish, Lena will have good magic.
Yeah.
Also,
I think
you're good.
Okay, she's pretty decent.
You're also about to see Izala on Giant Loop, setting up the full blue field, like Corbett had mentioned, because he's going to try to Frog Prince.
Yeah. Silver was doing a great Frog Prince impersonation the other day.
You have to.
Everyone's gonna have to do it with us.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
You gotta celebrate getting
There's
the
no
frog
camera.
prince off by dancing along with him.
For those who don't know, it's just gonna be hands up by your face, and then right, left, right, left.
We're gonna make
You'll
this
get to
sound
see it one
effect too.
time.
Make sure you smile too.
You gotta
He's
do
so
the
happy
crazy
to be
stuff.
summoned.
So actually, one of the troll things about this gloop fight is that when it does its take in element or unique effect or whatever, it can freeze. It can give any number of like blue status ailments to freeze. Also, here's the frog prince. Everyone, get ready. Hands up.
Whack, whack. There you go.
Wait.
582 damage is really nice. You're generally looking for over 520, 530, so really good roll there.
Also, to what Carbon was just mentioning, like how this fight can be trolled. So Serge did get I forget what the status element's called, but you couldn't use you couldn't use his blue elements. So he extended the fight. That's a example of like one of these fights kind of going a little bit rough. But luckily in this fight, one of the scheduled moves that Giant Gloop does is blue filled. So he eventually turns the field blue completely for us. However, coming up in the next fight is a fight where if it goes very badly, like it is very hard to get Frog Prince off, which we really, really need to.
Right.
Yeah.
Good old Taurusoid.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say before the frog prince went off was actually that you can see that Izala has the flu, and so one of those ailments that the take-in element can do is like anti-blue, flu, or frozen. And basically, if you have any of them, I think you're guaranteed to get. Well, there's a chance that you don't get the flu afterwards, but generally speaking, we put medicines on Serge to help get rid of whatever ailment is there, and it'll put a blue on the field, so that way we can do the frog prince before the gloop does the blue field. And so what we saw Izala do was he had to go into the menu to use a spare medicine that we had to get that off, which is just extra time loss.
Oh, Izala's going for the
Wait,
Cybot skip.
Izala? Oh,
Or not.
He's not gonna.
don't do it.
He's
he baited
tricking
us.
us.
He
This is-
baited us.
This is, I guess, the second of 3 like skips that we can do. We saw Azala get guard skip earlier, but there's a corner in there that you can basically kind of jam yourself into, so that way that Cybot will walk past you. It saves about 10 seconds, but if you fail it, you have to fight it, and it is not a fast fight. I think the fastest way I found to get through it is to do the Frog Prince, which is like a minute plus of time loss. It's rough, but
Oh man.
2
So these
papers to
paper
dodge.
moves-
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Oh. Oh, no.
They're very troll. They're very hard. Or they're very easy to run into, even like if you're an experienced runner, just because they go invisible and I guess like are intangible while they're invisible, and they roll towards you. But they can come, as far as I know, can become visible like at any point. And so if you're running through them and they decide, hey, I'm gonna grab you, like they will.
Yeah.
They just do.
It's literally all the homework you guys have put off like your entire life just coming to bite you.
Yeah, the one consolation is that if you do get the encounter, you are guaranteed to run through the enemy.
That's true.
Some enemies will block your path. They'll just be physical and present. But after you run away, you can just run straight through them. This guy, though, he's the real troll.
Yeah, this
He's
one's
so hard to
oh
dodge.
oh he could have made that. That's
All right, nice.
better safe. Oh,
Oh, no. I thought he was going to hit that.
I thought so too. Wow, lucky.
Also, Umbra's
Speaking
getting
of
to.
trolls, we're coming up on the Taurusoid fight.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's a good explanation that we probably need to do. Take it
Do
away.
you want to
Corp.
explain it?
Sure.
It's just a dangerous fight.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
with the Taurusoid fight, we have to start off the fight with a turn red or a weak minded, one of the two, depending on strategy. But after we cast it or before, Taurusoid will take his turn and do a pretty damaging move against somebody. Ideally, we want that move to hit Glenn because he resists Taurusoid's attacks because he's also a green element. But occasionally, Taurusoid will go for Lina or Serge. If Serge doesn't have a lot of HP, in which case for Izala it's kind of low. If Taurusoid hits Serge again, there's a good chance it's going to knock him out. So in that case, you can either, well, Serge has the revive, so if he gets knocked out, you have to run away and do the fight again, unless you have some backups for Glenn and Lina. But usually he likes to go after Lina and knock her out. Okay. And
No, it's very good he got that
Oof.
defend off.
Okay.
Oh, no, he did. Oh, it killed by
There you
one.
go.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's Taurusoid being troll.
1 to hell.
Welcome to the typical
Wow.
Taurus fight.
Ouch. I thought he was safe there with the
I
defense.
knew 130
It was-
is too low. But
It was very close, very close.
Does that does physical damage, right? The defense. Wow.
yeah, you need to be safe. You gotta have Serge have over 150 just to be safe after that. All right, he went after Glenn, which is perfect. The perfect target. So if Glenn gets hit again, he'll be fine. You don't have to worry about him. Unless he has super low HP, which he does not. He's in a good spot.
So Izala, I think he could have made that work without Serge, but the discipline and it's just so much safer that he ran.
Yeah, it's very hard. Because, like, the alternative is, right, like, thinking that you can, or if, like, you're kind of sure you can, and you try to, and then you end up not being able to, you waste a lot of time versus just running and resetting.
Believe me, I know. So, for those who don't know, I was on a world record pace run, and towards the end, I had forgotten to heal and tried to make something work that didn't work, and I blew it.
Yeah, oof.
So the safe thing to do sometimes is just run away.
Yeah, just take the flat time loss instead of, like, potentially risking, like, run over time loss.
Yep.
There's
Also,
Zero.
I was gonna say that Zero got the same common drops off the Salt and Pepper fight.
Yeah, I
on
was gonna
his
say that
screen.
too. But I was also gonna say, as Zero was climbing that path, that ladder-looking thing, the dog runs up, and if you can pay attention to the dog as it's running, you can see if it's gonna go onto the left side or the right, and if it's going onto
wait.
your path, you can adjust and go to the other path. But Zero played it safe and decided to wait for the dog to move.
Gonzalez in a... Uh-oh. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
He was one stamina short.
Oof.
Yikes.
Izala's getting trolled by Taurusoid.
So this fight, like, very, like, particular setups. Like, you need a certain amount of stamina because, like, you're trying to fit in, like, well, you do Magnifier beforehand, but you're trying to fit in all of your blues to fill the field and Frog Prince before Taurusoid his 11 AP goes down, because every time you use a move, AP climbs down till their turn. So you're trying to beat that as well, and you're trying to, like, keep track of stamina.
Yeah,
Like, things like that
Taurusoid is he's generally forgiving enough because he has 11 minimum AP, and that tends to be, like, just barely enough to get things to work in your favor. But Azala is definitely getting a little trolled here. I think he's getting a little punished by having Lena do the turn red. Kind of some more recent thoughts have been to have Serge do a turn red or a weak-minded.
Weak-minded.
Yeah. And what it basically saves you from, which is why it's one of the reasons it's good, is that Lena ends up not doing the element, so she has one more element in her level, and she doesn't take that 7 stamina hit. Now it can still work, and you see right here with the full defend, he's max stam, so this one should be perfectly fine. But I think he was getting a little punished by that.
Right.
Yeah, the turn red strats from Lena are a little bit old, and I still use them occasionally, but we can now, as you said, equip have Serge use a turn red or weak-minded, and that way Lena will be able to heal up, potentially, if somebody's in danger of getting knocked out again, the Cure Plus.
Right. It's just mainly her not taking that big hit in the beginning. Like, leaves you a little bit of room so that, like, say you don't get a full refresh on one of your defends, that, like, Taurusoid doesn't become a big issue.
Yeah.
It can always still become a big issue. But...
Yeah, yes. And also, one of the kind of the nice thing about not having Lena do the turn red as well is that you kind of get to save yourself. You get the option to have her do a Cure Plus, which Close to Work came up with an idea to do this Cure Plus because there is a world where Taurusoid just, if you go 3 rounds of his attacks, can just target the same person. And if you've already used your revive on that 3rd attack and he hits the same person, you're pretty screwed.
Right.
So that Cure Plus can be very helpful if in that situation, if a little slower, but definitely better than running.
Yeah, I saw Zero Umbra. He for the Fire Dragon, he used a Genius and a Magnify. on Lena to get through the fight. That was pretty interesting. I don't know if that was older strats or what, but that Magnify can come back to bite you, because that increases all elemental damage by 1.5. So if the Fire Dragon would have survived and used a Fire Breath attack, he could have easily knocked out anybody in the party thanks to the Magnify. But that didn't happen, so Zero's
He's
getting
been
through.
getting rainbow splits in Mount Pyre so far.
That's awesome.
So,
Hopefully, if this 3 Davis fight goes well for him, he'll have all rainbow Mount Pyre. That'll be so exciting.
Is he? Did he? I don't know if he healed for that. He might have to run from this fight if he didn't heal.
Yeah, I think I saw Glenn was in critical HP, so he'll find out on turn 1 if he's got to heal.
Yeah. Also, Dine is mentioning in the chat that Zero is running on emulator, where Izala is running on PS2 using fast disk speed. You can run this game easily on either or. Emulator has some slightly slower load times, but you can still get a very competitive time with it.
Right.
I know. It's one of what I used to run on for the longest time.
I do think that Zero Umbra says that he's playing on PS3, which I believe is slower. The PS3 emulation. I forget how the emulation works on PS3, but I remember it emulating in a different way.
Yeah. Also, I meant to mention this earlier as well. There's a difference in the combat that Zero and Azala are doing. Zero is still on the regular, I believe it's the regular camera. It might be the dynamic. But very early on in the game, we tend to switch the camera angle from dynamic to normal or normal to dynamic. I forget which one. But what it does is it helps our targeting, and it also doesn't have this wide view of everyone. So we get more consistent selection of who we're targeting when we buff ourselves, when we attack the enemy. Oh, he must be really low in strength. 250. He also did do the turn red strat rather than the strengthen that Azala did.
Right.
But 7 health. That's unfortunate.
Alright, on the Izala screen, we're going to be fighting a boss that's called Son of a Gun. It's a pretty creepy looking boss, so I thought I'd warn everybody, just in case you're kind of sensitive to nightmare fuel or clowns or whatever. I suggest you turn away, because it can be pretty disturbing. But anyway, see what kind of luck he gets.
Or just if you're a CC runner and you have nightmares from this guy.
Seriously.
Yeah, so there's like a 30-second time loss if you get what's called Kissy Wissy from here. And our entire goal is to just not see that. It looks like Azala's gonna skip it, which is perfect. If you're not a fan of your grandmother giving you kisses, you will hate this fight.
Yeah, so the longer this fight goes on, the more Son of a Gun will change phases, and his facial expression will change as well. It gets can be very disturbing. Right now he's on the happy phase, but thankfully Izala got good luck on a good start. So that's all we're going to see here. We're not going to see any more mode changes.
Yeah. Hopefully he has the magic stat. If you're about 15 or less magic on Lena, this Frog Prince might not kill. The Son of a Gun has quite high defenses, both physical and magic.
That was a good
340.
roll.
That should be
340.
enough.
That looks good.
That should be enough. Yeah.
He might need a 1. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you just don't kill on this. So actually,
and if you don't...
Serge did like 20 damage with that Aqua Ball. That was
Right.
Yeah, last I
that was
checked,
a lot.
Yeah, last I checked, Serge had 16 magic, but that was a while ago. He might have 17 or 18.
Wow.
Wait,
Because normally
I
when you
read
do
it's-
like an Aqua Beam, it does like 1. So
I just saw Zero screen, and I might be wrong, but I think that I saw Lena with 18 magic, which is really high going into fort.
If Lena
Oh,
can
good
get to
fort.
if Lena could get to like 21, Zero could potentially skip a phase on Bunyip later on, which Izala's about to go face off against Bunyip.
yeah, Bunyip, in my opinion, is actually one of the biggest run killers in this area. And normally you don't see it, but if you don't switch the phase fast enough, it'll do an element called Inferno, and you will have magnified the field. And Inferno is a very strong element that hits everybody. Silver was running last night, and she got Infernoed, and she lived with like 6 health.
Yeah, one
on 2
character had
people.
6, and the other 2 died. Yeah.
So we say that you can run from any fight, and you can, but not when everyone's dead.
Oh, that bat.
Oh, that bad.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah,
That's rough.
that bat was just in a bad location because he's kind of trapped because like he can't just run backwards because the guard's kind of guarding the stairs, and the bat's kind of cornering him over there. That's just one of those unfortunate like enemies in the wrong location at the wrong time type things. That was a bad spot.
And
Rosie
also
says.
on phase 2, on phase 2 for Bunyip, if he gets a very early turn, the fight you can easily wipe there because we're relying on the blues on the field to summon Frog Prince on the second phase. And if you get 1 AP or 0 rolled at the start, you can miss that opportunity. So then you'll be stuck not being able to use Frog Prince, which does around 700 to 900 damage on Bunyip. And the best option is just to run away. But we'll see what happens.
It's also worth a quick mention that encounter that Azala just got is technically skippable. Like if depending on where the Dragoon spawns, like whenever you walk in the door, you can easily get by him if he just happens to be in the right place and you want to run along like on the opposite side of him. But even if he's not, there is assistance setups to basically kind of lure him to an area to where you can run around him. But it's very common to also get the encounter, but just wanted to note that it is possible to get around that encounter as well.
Yeah, you can pull it and do a dodge, and it'll be faster than getting the encounter. It does take some practice, but it is possible. So Izala is starting the Bunyip fight. It looks like he got a decent. Oh, it was
a bad start. So if he had missed one of Glenn's attacks there, then they could have gotten Inferno, but he didn't. So he goes straight to Ice Blast, and phase 2 starts, or Aqua Ball.
Well, hopefully this does enough damage. I didn't see his magic.
I think it's still kind of low.
But Izala looks like he's Ooh, that's low damage.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
All right, he's fine. Everything's
Woo! Okay, so
Oh boy.
in case people aren't aware, like Carbon did mention it a little bit, but right there, like I think if that 2 wouldn't have killed, he was risking getting Infernoed. And whenever the field is magnified, it isn't magnified for just your party; it's magnified for everybody. So if he would have Infernoed, like there have been many a time where you just straight die.
I think with the low start that Corp was talking about, I think that was a high roll that he also got on the AP to get that attack off.
Yeah, that was very lucky. I mean, it's unfortunate that he didn't have the magic to push over. That's unlucky, but it's very lucky that he got by without dying.
Yeah, well, if he had the Ice Blast, it would have been fine.
Right.
So that's that drop coming to bite him, which is so unfortunate that it's just a 10% to not get it.
Right.
But Zero tried to go for a fast bat pass, did not get it. But the other thing to note on Izala is that he's doing the level 5 Frog Prince strat. This is the normal stuff. I have been pushing to bring back level 6. Basically, you take a menu to do Frog Prince at a higher level, depending on your stat line. And that 750 damage that it'll do will do closer to like 900, 1,000, depending. And so your whole hope is to skip this Gravitone, because even with level 5, you have to hit that 1 and get an extra AP to then do this Luminaire.
Right.
Yeah, and normally Luminaire will do anywhere from 200 to 275 damage, depending on Serge, but Izala's Serge is really strong, so it should do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, this might do like 300 or more.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's with a black on the field, which reduces the damage, so that was pretty great. But that's normal. Lena will not do enough damage to Bunyip normally to knock him out with Frog Prince, so Serge will come in to do the Luminaire. But if Lena has extraordinarily high magic, or as Carbon was mentioning, you change up your menuing a bit, you can skip that potential Graviton.
Yeah, there's
Glenn's
just
at
also
26.
That's high. There's also just a lot of ways that you can save time with Lena having magic. Not only with like what
Mhm.
Carbon was mentioning with the moving the element over, but like with with Izala having like lower magic and not having not having the ice blast and like that, like he essentially had to do what is like the slowest, because if he had a little bit higher Lena magic, he could have also skipped Luminaire, which is a slow animation, instead done something like Bush Basher, which
Mhm.
is a lot faster.
Yeah, so I guess just to get into it, the level 6 like idea is like you take a Azala could have ran past that bat, but he decided to pull back. And he got caught for it. There's that bridge is very troll. Like there's a certain cutoff point where the bats cannot enter. Basically, they can't get you on the portal platform. There's a certain like roughly halfway on that bridge where they can't go. So I think if he just went for it, he was fine. But he pulled back, didn't pull back all the way, got caught. But yeah, if you have enough stats for the level 6 Frog Prince, the damage, you take a menu and you basically do a couple less elements and you net some time save. But he has now we're done with Lena. Her purpose is over now. And you know she did it well for this section.
She'll do one more offensive-based attack against General Viper, but other than that, she's going to be support. So it's all up to Glenn at this point, and luckily for Izala, Glenn is extremely strong with 26 strength at this point. Normally, Glenn will be like between 20 and 24 on average, but
Right.
he got 2+2s this attempt, so that's really good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
lucky for both. I was gonna say, lucky for both Azala and Zero Umbra, the handy drop can't affect them in this race, in this category.
Yeah. So Azala only has 2 more fights left in the run. He's got Viper and Lynx. So it looks like he's looking at like a 220-ish, which is a very good time. It may be a little slower than he would like, but for this setting and what's happened, yeah, he's pretty solid.
It's a race time with a safety save and a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, so General Viper, if you get a good AP start, which Izala just did not, because General Viper got his turn off, but if you are able to get the Strengthen and the Eagle Eye off before General Viper gets his turn, you could potentially, with enough strength on Glenn, you will skip his special attack G-Force, which puts a yellow on the field and you see a slow animation. But because General Viper went early, we see G-Force go off here. And, but anyway, it's a small time loss, and nobody's in any real danger of getting knocked out in this fight.
Yeah, the biggest thing is to make sure that you get a heal off after this fight. Because if you don't, Lynx can be a bully.
And that can go very badly.
Looks like Viper's being a bully.
Why Serge? Not sure. Yeah, a 3 and then Sonic Sword would have knocked out Viper. I don't know why Serge wanted to run, to hit.
Azala mentioned that. Yeah.
Oh, Izala has no tablets to heal.
Well, that's a good call out. Yeah, we did not see that. So we tend to buy 41 tablets, and generally that will last throughout the section. But and the handy drop.
I always buy extra capsules.
Yeah.
So because Izala got trolled by Taurusoid, had to run away multiple times and heal up, he ended up using most of his tablets. So that's a real danger for the run. So as Deeds mentioned, buying extra tablets is not a bad idea for this attempt or for this tournament.
Yeah, and it's real smart of him to have gotten the elements to get the heal all. I tend not to buy the heal all, so I could never make that play. But that was good. Yeah, that's a good place to have it.
Alright, this is what it's all for. Facing off against Lynx once more.
So also, on the Viper thing, he got the Mithril Mail Drop, which is affectionately referred to as the handy drop. basically, that's the rare drop. It's a nice defensive item, but his common drop is a Dragoon Gauntlet, which is +3 strength, and you really want that. So,
Really want that.
you really want it. It's if Izala was doing an any percent run, if he was doing a PB attempt, he probably would stop here. You just lose so much time. Yeah, well, he'd blame you. But missing that 3 strength is so big. It prevents a lot of strategies.
Oh, a crit. A crit on Lynx. So he can finish this with a 3-3, I think. Not have to do X strike. After the next one, sorry.
Is he gonna Aqua Ball Lena? Is he trying to finish Lena off?
Is he mad? Oh.
I went Glenn.
Mercy. Lena was like, I will dodge this. Oh, he's trying to swag on him with 3s now.
The 2-2-2 would have done it. But anyway, good job for Izala.
GG to
So
Azala.
GG.
GG, Izala.
His time is up at the end of this heal, so
As soon as the screen hits, and boom.
time 2:19:02.
So now we
There
can
you
give
go.
all of our prayers and everything, and all of our luck to Zero Umbra going forward.
Because
Umbra
Zero
coming
Umbra
up
has
to-
to face. Zero Umbra has to face the terror that is Taurusoid.
No.
Hopefully he gets better luck than what happened to Azala.
Right.
I love that. Zero with the merry-go-round. Hopefully he puts Lena back up front.
Right. I was just about to mention that.
But yeah, he's just killing time.
We say, and then as it gets closer and closer, we're gonna be like, oh no, sweating.
Zero forgot to do his homework too. He came back. I don't know how far Izala's gonna go with his stream, but you're gonna see some great cutscenes on his end.
AG Deeds' favorite cutscene is coming up.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say he's definitely humoring me right now because he knows I'm watching. Ooh, Zero's still...
Oh, he went the
Oh,
wrong way.
wait, wrong way.
Go, go,
Uh-oh.
go, go.
Oh, wait, I think he knows. Okay.
Ooh, good dodges though.
Yep. He was just flexing. He wanted us to show that he could dodge it a second time.
Yeah, the room Zero Umbra's in is really a nice maze. It's like a 3-dimensional maze puzzle, so it's very easy to get lost, especially if you're not super familiar where to go. Especially if you want to get all the items in this place, trying to figure out all the paths, it can take a while, but... Alright, just going straight for it.
Oh, yeah. That one's actually, like, I think, in my opinion, the hardest one to die, just because it can pop up out of the, like, it can be very close to you when you finally see it.
Yeah, the camera angle is not in your favor.
Yeah, you're blind.
It can sometimes just roll like NASCAR style just out and just
Yeah.
get you, and you don't see it coming. So you do need to. I tend to just pause a little bit, try to get the camera to speed up, but there's no real like great idea. Well, also you can see on Izala's, since he's humoring us, spoilers, the body swap has happened, and normally in the any percent you want, what, he's doing no damage, wow. Oh, he's doing ones. Normally you want Serge to be at slightly lower health for any percent, just that way he dies faster, because it's not a fight you're gonna win.
So Puexel asked the question, if someone has a really good run up to this point, do they have the option to continue into a full game run, or did they skip too much stuff to continue? Good question. Generally, we should be fine. You can still continue the fight, continue the run. One of the items that we skipped on the ship is the photon beam, which Izala picked up by muscle memory. That's kind of the only deciding item for any percent. It makes one fight very quick and consistent. But you don't need that. You can still finish that fight. It'll just take a little extra time.
That and it depends if people skip buying the diminish, right?
Oh, and yeah, but you could pick up the diminish elsewhere.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
can.
that's true. Yeah.
You could actually. I've tested a little bit. It is dangerous. You can actually run the later bit without the diminish. Just
Right.
replace it with a turn black, just to get some black on the field to reduce damage. But that diminish is so valuable.
It really is. Yeah.
But when purchasing the magnify and diminish together, like if you have the money, you might as well get both because you're not
Yeah.
saving too much time by skipping out on it. But if your money is questionable, if you got guard skipped, if you had low guard encounters, like only 3 guards each, if on the ghost ship you got first key and only had 1 encounter, you might be short on money. And in that case, it's your choice to buy magnify or sell extra elements for the diminish.
There is you can do some minor optimizing for just the cap percent, versus any percent, but I think at most it maybe saves like, and this is generous, is about 30 seconds. To me, it doesn't really seem worth trying to optimize that bit, rather than just practice and learn the any percent out.
So I don't remember if how Zero Umbras works or not, but I didn't see. But I saw that whenever he went to attack with Serge just now, that Genius was still available. So I imagine, I don't know if that means that he forgot the Genius or. If
I think he just has a high Lena. If he has 18
Yeah,
Lena or
Oh
more,
right, that's
you can,
right. That's right.
You can skip it. So that's what we were
Okay.
talking about by having like a really good Lena. You can skip a Genius or some other stuff, and the elements take about 10 seconds each. So
Right.
it does look, he might be.
Yeah, he was short on the frog prints, but this should do it. Should do like over 50.
I forgot that his Lena was rolling in magic.
Yeah, she went to the library.
Well, he got through Torosoid. Congratulations. That fight
Ew.
can be troll, as we saw with Izala.
And he's still on PB pace, it looks like, so
Let's
that's
go.
exciting.
I was at 0. Umbra says Glenn missed a 1, so he had to do a late aqua beam. So no worries. So yeah, 0's gonna finish up for Dragonia. There's just got to get through Son of a Gun again and Bunyip, and then General Viper and Lynx. Yeah.
PH with the ha ha ha's forever. That's his W replacement.
So we actually saw on Izala's run where Son of a Gun at least wasn't that troll. He got the what we consider the fast fight. So we're gonna hope for the same thing for Zero Umbra. I don't know if we mentioned what happens if you don't get the fast fight or whatever, or why it takes longer. But essentially, if you don't get the frog prints off like before the second turn of Son of a Gun, then Son of a Gun doesn't only just do one element. Son of a Gun does mode change and then photon beam, and then if the fight goes longer than that, it gets like even worse. But mainly, you just lose the time from having to watch both those elements.
Uh-oh. So 0 Umbra
Wait.
overmashed. So he did not solve the puzzle correctly, so he's got to do it again. It's
But luckily he picked the one that
Oh, the
is
change.
easiest to leave.
So I really enjoyed most of the puzzles in Fort Dragonia, except the one on the left with the bat and the changing platform screen. But this one's interesting. So you have a dragon statue that's facing a direction, and the statue tells you that whatever direction the dragon statue is facing, that is north. So if you want to go somewhere, you have to reorient yourself based on where the dragon statue is facing. So in this
now
case,
he's facing a new direction. Is he
yeah,
gonna
so we
remember?
wanted to go south, which is directly behind the dragon. And anyway, so if you want to get all the treasure chests or fight all the enemies, I thought it was a really clever puzzle. We're just speeding our way through. We don't need any of the items. We don't need to fight any of the enemies. We just need to activate this pillar and go fight the creepy clown thing.
Miss Paul Weather asks Clown Boss. You'll see very, very soon why we call Son of a Gun the Clown Boss. Very much can be nightmare fuel, as corporate likes to call it.
I just hope he gets the short version of the fight.
So I guess we can explain what like dictates whether or not it's the short version or the fast version. But essentially, what you want to happen is you want Son of a Gun to roll a 3 AP or higher. So Son of a Gun has a 7 AP starting value. So it's kind of low to start with. So it's very common to also not get the fast version of it. But you're going to see Zero Umbra walk up and do a 1-1 with Serge to get him to level 2. You want Son of a Gun to not go then. And then you want to go up with Lena and you want to throw 3s because you want to build her stamina before the Son of a Gun gets their first turn. So that's what would dictate a good fight, if the 3s hit.
Right. Very nice. Yeah, all you need for Lena is to hit one of the 3s, but hitting both of them just speeds it along. So he also got the good start. Except Glenn's missing a whole bunch.
Uh-oh, Glenn, stop it.
He should be
You
fine
can-
though.
Yeah, as long as you don't miss too many times, you're fine. Wait, no.
Uh-oh.
I think he was fine. Okay, so this is gonna be the slow fight, but I think he was fine.
Oh, a miss. A kissy wissy miss. That's nice. So when that hits, the character I think is afflicted with sleep, or yeah, just sleep. So then you would have to use Glenn, who has a backup panacea, to cure that, which is a time investment. But because it missed, you can go straight into the building the full blue field for Frog Prince. And because Zero Umbra's Lena is very strong, there's no doubt that it's gonna knock out Son of a Gun in one hit.
Also, for anybody who maybe was like paying attention to us earlier saying that like elements opposite each other do more damage, I'd be wondering why we turn blue the Son of a Gun. And the answer for that is uniquely, actually, if you double turn blue or double turn color an enemy, it basically undoes the effect. And turn blue is a very fast blue element, so it's just our way of filling the field with blue, completely blue, really quickly.
Yeah, 433 damage on Son of a Gun. The enemy only has 383 HP, and normally we do about 30 damage before the Fog Prince, so very much overkill. Alright, the nightmare is slain. Everybody can look now.
I'm still rooting for his PB. I hope this gets to be a PB run for Zero.
Yeah, Glenn is looking really good. He's also got 26 strength at this point, so the General Viper and Lynx fights are going to be relatively quick, thanks to that strength value.
Zero Umbra coming up on the last 3 fights of the run. Let's just hope we don't have any as close of calls on Bunyip as we did with Izala.
Yeah. Might see Zero Umbra also dodge the Stairwell Dragoon Rider. Yeah. For the guards and the bats on this floor, you can pay attention and react well enough. The bats are random, so there might be a point where there's nothing you can do about them and you just run into them. But the guard on the stairwell, as was mentioned before, is a tough enemy to dodge, and before it was kind of just luck whether or not you got it. But lately we've had I think all the runners have been able to observe and carefully manipulate that Dragoon Rider so that, this guard's not behaving very well. Turn around!
Yeah, he's trying to get close enough to where he can pull the aggro of the guard. Oh, okay. So the guard didn't turn around, which is nice, but He was being a little troll for a minute.
Oh, he got the dodge. Very nice.
Let's go.
That's really hard to do.
Yeah, it takes a bit of practice to just work up the nerves to do it, because that guy, for so long, it's like almost undodgeable. But then when you know there's a way to do it, you can calm yourself and pay attention and eventually get it. So, good for him. Now we got Bunyip, though. So, Lena's going to start this fight with a 1-2-2. And as long as she hits, everything's good. But if Bunyip interrupts her after the first 1-2, then we have to be, or for Zero Umbra, we have to be very careful. Okay, did not interrupt. That's nice. So we would call that a bad start. And that would mean that Bunyip would immediately go into Magma Bomb. And then with that, we'd have to start counting our AP. Because if somebody misses, like Glenn or Lena, then after the Magma Bomb, he'll use Inferno. And we mentioned before that Inferno is an AoE attack that's very powerful and will most likely knock out everybody on your team, unless like Serge and Glenn have very high HP. So we have Glenn using this, setting up this Magnify. Lena will use Ice Blast, and because her magic is stellar, she'll be able to go straight into the second round, or second phase of Bunyip. And likewise, if Bunyip gets an early turn here, if Serge is not able to run up and hit him before Bunyip gets the turn, you also got to play it safe as well, because there's a chance that we'll get hit with Graviton before we're able to get off the Frog Prince. So that's an early start for Bunyip. This is not looking very good for Zero Umbra, but he can still get it off. We just have to make sure Glenn doesn't miss, or Lena doesn't miss her attack. Should be fine.
Energy out in the universe.
No
misses.
miss. Okay, we can still get lucky. Let's see. All right, very nice.
We got it all.
It's always
Frog
very
Prince
relieving.
just a significant amount of damage. So if you get interrupted in this field, it's not a bad idea just to run away and try again. I think the fight is still completable, but it's a slog, and it becomes really dangerous for Serge, because Serge will take extra damage against Bunyip's attacks like Graviton and so forth. Yeah, with that, Serge will get to level 5, use Luminaire, and I think with his magic should be fine. The fight will be over.
Another longer death animation too for this.
Now we get to see if both of them get the handy drop.
Right? Oh my gosh, can you
That
believe
would
that
be
both
amazing.
of them got it?
They both get it confirmed for sure.
$27 for Glenn. Very nice.
Right, home stretch. PH in chat saying Andy banned from commenting for that, for saying that.
Honestly, whenever I go into PH's stream when he's doing PB attempts, and I see if I pop in and he's like right at this area where this drop can happen, I don't comment in his chat until he's past it. That way I can't be blamed for any kind of drops.
There's just no other way to do it.
But right now, Zero Umbra coming up to the last two fights, going up the elevator, getting ready to go confront both Viper and Lynx.
Yep. Now, we didn't say this before, but another newbie mistake is you get so used to the dream sequence at the very beginning of this, of the game, where you have Kid in your party and you go up you go up the teleport and she has a whole bunch of dialogue, so you naturally just are used to button mashing. But when you get to this point in the game, there is no dialogue, and if you hit X, it will take you back down the teleport. So you basically have to sit through 2 load screens to teleport back up again.
Yeah, but it's
just
just
to
the
go through
teleport.
the door.
It's just the teleport of shame. Like you
It's
hit
the
it, and you're just like,
teleport of
oh, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, another thing that guaranteed every Chrono Cross speedrunner has done is you get
Yep.
to this point and you start button mashing.
Every time I do that, I'm just like, all right, we're just not gonna talk about this guy. We're gonna move past it.
This never happened. Evil Surge smug face. Yeah, I like to dub him, when you do the body swap and it's like the Evil Surge, I dub him Hot Topic Surge.
Hot topic,
Because
sir.
then he switches into like the black emo outfit. I don't know, that's I always...
That's funny.
Man, it's a shame you can't see Hot Topic Surge in this category.
Yeah, it is a little sad. But it is a little unnerving. Like, I remember kind of the first time you play this, or well, for me, the first time playing through this, and like you see Serge talk, and you're like, wait a second, the silent protagonist of JRPGs don't talk? Like, what's going on? Like, I always thought that was an interesting touch, you know, at this point in JRPGs, to have Serge actually talk and be like, oh no. Yeah, punk rock Serge in the comments. Someone said another good name for him.
And Zero's through.
All right. Viper's got to get backstabbed here.
I missed it. Did he get the handy drop?
Oh, I don't think he did. No.
I
Okay.
didn't see.
I
It looks
missed
like, based on what PH is saying, I think you've cursed both runners.
I
wait,
cursed
for
both
real?
runners. Oh no.
Andy, we are
Oh,
so
no.
so fortunate that this is just a cat percent.
This is what happens when Handy is a commentator for your Lynx tutor, I suppose.
As Azala is saying in chat, at least it was only Lynx 2. So getting the Dragoon or getting the mail in like a full percent run is very punishing. Very punishing. Luckily the handy drop can't hurt you in these small runs or these short runs. Also, Deeds, do you know if Umbra is still on PB pace?
Let me look. I mean, so far, yes, but it's very close. I missed. They had to skip their Viper splits, but the Bunyip split was 11 seconds ahead. So, and I didn't see what time they finished on Viper, so it'll be close. Let's see. Their Lynx 2 PB was 2 hours and 44 minutes, 24 seconds.
Oh, very
so
close.
I don't see a reason why this won't PB for Zero Umbra. So this is very exciting. PB during the
that's it.
tournament.
I think he PBs during the tournament. Claps in chat. GG.
29
Yes.
strength, Glenn.
Oh wow.
GG.
That's
That
so
for Umbra.
GG's, your Umbra.
GG's. Yeah, so new
GG's.
PB for 2 hours 42 minutes 56 seconds. So congratulations, it's almost a minute and a
PB.
half faster.
Boom.
Thank you, everyone, for the race, for the runners and the commentary. Please be sure to give everyone a follow. Super friendly people, really knowledgeable. We do have another match scheduled for just a couple of minutes. I'm just going to drop the stream real quick for cropping the new runners, and we'll be right back. If everyone chooses to stay around, greatly appreciated. Thank you again to the commentators and the runners for taking time out of your days for this.